Welcome in to episode 74 of JD's Empire Sports Talk with Biggie. So we are back for another Tuesday night action-packed as we have another sport that is underway. So we have another sport to, we have to handle that. And before we get it started, Biggie, you have anything you want to, talk about? We feel a little, I'm beyond numb with my football team, but you feel better after the weekend. So I know we don't have to really start
necessarily.
off. But they won. They did win. So that's winning kind of cures
they
it
won,
a little
but
bit.
someone else didn't.
I get. But that is like me. You're like me at this point. We're numb to it. We're gonna become numb to it if you aren't there yet. But yeah, tomorrow night we're gonna be doing our Cavs versus Knicks live stream. Me and Biggie will be on. We have a guest or two or more. We don't know yet, but we do have
guys. Reach out.
Yeah, really. If you want to be on, man, we'll get you on there. Knicks fan. If you don't like the Knicks, if you're a Cavs fan, whatever the case may be. Because usually in the NBA, it's like, people like the Knicks, and then the people that don't like the Knicks hate the Knicks regardless of what team they root for. So if you want to just come on and, chirp me for however long you want, you can do that. If you're a Cavs fan and support Biggie, that's more than okay. I'm okay with that. I'm not opposed to, hearing it from the other side. I know a lot of people don't like that, but yeah, why not? It's going to be fun. I can't wait. And Biggie, our two teams are the favorites to win in the East. So tomorrow's a big night to see.
Yeah, big opening night for the NBA, to say the least. I mean,
yeah, we got two games tonight, which we'll get into in a little bit. Tomorrow, the Knicks and Cavs are the headline game of that night. Knicks are going to be out with some. Knicks have some guys out. The Cavs have some guys out as well. So it won't be full strength, but still the best players of both teams will still be available. And let's start with the NBA. So the NBA is back tonight. It is not only back in terms of basketball, but also back on NBC. So before both of us were born, they did play or have games televised on NBC, and then they did away with that many years ago. But it is now back, so it's very exciting to see. They brought back that old atmosphere, which I like. I think it belongs on NBC, and it'll still be on ESPN. I know there's some games on Prime now. It's a whole bunch of different networks
everywhere.
But which is good. You get to see a variety of different, hear different voices, things like that. Mike Tirico calling basketball games again, which is pretty cool. I know he does. Obviously, everyone knows him from Sunday Night Football, but now he gets to call basketball, which the last time he did that was when he was with ESPN, which was a few years back. So it's been a while for him. So very exciting for that. And then the matchups we got tonight. So we got the Rockets and the Thunder in the first game. So we know what the Thunder bring. They're the defending champion. Biggie, they look last year, if you want to, compare them to a team that's won before, like any other sport. It's basically, they did last year basically what the Patriots did, but 5 years straight when the Patriots, when they won all of their Super Bowls.
Right.
Pretty much what the Thunder did last year in one season. They won, I think it was close to 70 games. And then in the postseason, they really had no one that pushed them. The only series, if I remember right, was Denver. They pushed them to 7 games. That was the second round. After that, they were good to go. They had no worries in the world, and they have everybody back. So usually when you get a championship team, you can allude to this. Your Eagles have won championships in your lifetime, but it looks a little different, right? The next year.
Yeah, especially this year. I mean, I'm not talking about the NFL, but you look at it, the Eagles this year compared to last year, and I don't think they're going to do it again. But the Thunder though, I think they do. I think they make a case to do it again.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. Like with the Eagles, they have a different roster. Thunder have the same. It's easier in the NBA to get that done, but the Thunder have pretty much the same roster in terms of the guys that played significant minutes, which you don't see that a lot. So that's a huge advantage for them. Where maybe if they had guys that left and things like that, where the beginning would be tough for them because they have to, try to gel together. They don't have to worry about that.
No,
I
they're all
saw
good.
they're all good, man. They're
Yeah.
all good. All they did was take a 2-month break just to be like, hey, you know what? We'll get the boys back together. Let's beat a few teams by 30 points every night, and then we'll see you in the playoffs. So the Thunder have it going for them. But tonight, I think the Rockets can be one of the teams that do challenge the Thunder. Last year, and we talked about this earlier, I think it was like the first couple of weeks when we started doing the show together, was what team will Kevin Durant go to? We thought the Rockets or the Spurs. He did go to the Rockets.
Yeah.
And we said that's the thing that the Rockets lacked, was a guy that, you know what, we're going to give you the ball, go score for us. The Rockets didn't have that last year. Now they have someone like Kevin Durant, who's he's so good. Even though he's older now, still a beast.
He's still good, yeah. He's still a very valuable player to any team.
And for a young squad, I think he's the good voice to lead those guys, because they don't have anybody really besides him that's older on the team. Maybe Steven Adams is really it. But yeah, great presence. When he's locked in, it's a great presence. When he's not locked in, not so much. But I think I don't think that'll be a problem. He also just signed a 2-year extension with the Rockets, so I think he's focused. This might be it for him. These last 3 years might be it for a guy that's been injured a lot in his career, especially lately. And then the Rockets, their starting lineup, I think no guy was shorter than like 6'8" or something like that. Even their point guard is 6'8".
Really?
And yeah, it's insane. So that's going to get that
advantage, yeah.
That can give the Thunder some trouble tonight, just because the Thunder are a smaller team. They really don't have anybody besides Hartenstein. I think their tallest guy is like 6'8" after that. So they got to worry about the height disadvantage, but they can also play quick. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. That game's actually starting as we speak, so that's going to be good. We can give some updates for that. And then tonight's game. So, Warriors versus Lakers, you're always thinking Steph versus LeBron. Well, LeBron's not available. He has I think it's in like an eye injury or something weird. So he's not available. But Luka Doncic still with the Lakers, of course. So he'll be leading the Lakers against a Warriors team that they didn't look great last year until midway when they brought in Jimmy Butler. But I think that turned the switch for them.
Yeah.
And the young guys, they developed. That's the thing with the Warriors. They can develop young talent. And seems like they've done that. So these 2 games tonight are going to be really good. And that's going to lead into what we're going to be doing tomorrow, which is going to be I'm very excited for that live stream.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. It really is going to be great. Some other NBA news we got. So Dyson Daniels, he's more of like a Swiss Army knife type guard for the Hawks. He signs a 4-year, $100 million extension. My personal opinion on that, I just don't think that he was worth that much. But that's the Hawks, not me, not my problem. Aaron Nesmith. He signs a 2-year, $40 million extension with the Pacers. That's what I'm trying to say there. Nesmith is not that far off from Dyson Daniels. And I think that Nesmith could have gotten more years, but I guess they didn't want to, go too much into it with that group of guys they have there. Then connecting with this game, but more so of as a whole, Jalen Williams is still out as his wrist heals. He had surgery on his wrist from a long season, of course. And that's the thing. When you do win or you do go far in the postseason, some injuries that, carry over, it can affect the beginning of your season.
Yeah.
So he's not available for them, and he's their second best player besides SGA. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then Biggie, we can do the schedule just for every team, like in terms of who they're playing their first game, just so we can see exactly what's going on. Because yeah, games do start tonight, but someone like the Nuggets don't play their first game till Thursday, which I don't really. Yeah. I don't get that. It's like I feel the first 2 days, that's when you get everybody in there, let everyone play and all that. NBA is always, they want to do their own thing, which it's whatever.
That's why you don't like it. You're making me watch it tomorrow.
Hey, listen, you have a team to root for. You have a team to root. If it was the Knicks versus the Cavs from like 3 years ago, I would say we're not wasting our time doing that. But it's because of the matchup. And last year, the Cavs beat the Knicks literally every single game they played them last year. So I think that the Knicks have to show something. Even if they don't have their whole team, they got to show they can actually beat the team that's probably going to be their most competition. So that's something, to watch out for.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go through the schedule here. So we said already for tonight, Rockets at Thunder and Warriors against the Lakers. Then tomorrow night, the game we're doing, which will be the first game of ESPN doubleheader, Cavs and Knicks. Then the Brooklyn Nets, so the little brother of New York, will be facing the Hornets. The only reason why I think people would tune into that game is if you're a Hornets fan. Their play-by-play announcer is electric. Eric Collins. I don't know if Biggie, you ever heard of him? He's
I don't
really
think
good.
I have. No.
When we sign off later, definitely watch his highlights. He's great. Miami The Heat are taking on the Magic, which I think the Magic are one of those teams that are, on the bubble of being good. Like they can get to that next level if everything breaks right for them. Then the Raptors taking on the Hawks. The 76ers, we don't know what the hell they're going to be this year because of all the injuries they got. So we will see what exactly happens with that, because the 76ers have talent, but if they're not on the floor, it does not matter. And we'll see what happens. And then the Celtics, they're a team that's not going to be what they were just because Tatum is not available and they got rid of Porzingis. They got rid of Drew Holiday. They're not the same team.
Yeah, they're one of those teams where they, like, especially after trading some of those guys, they are relying on someone like Jason Tatum.
Yeah,
I mean, besides him, they don't really. I don't think they're going to be very good without him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I've been saying this. I think they're good enough to be like, a play-in team, like a 10-9 type of seed. I think they're good enough for that, even without all the guys that are gone. But they will not be what they were the last few years.
No.
Pistons. The Pistons are taking on the Bulls. The Pistons are a team that the Pistons can be something. They gave the Knicks a little bit of run for their money in the playoff series last year. They're a young team. They're gritty. They're really, really good. I compare them to what the Knicks were before these past couple of years when they were trying to build their way up. I think that's what the Pistons are now. They're like a really great bunch.
They were one of the worst a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and they've improved so much. I think from 2 years ago to last year, they went up like 20 wins, which you don't see happen a lot.
That's like literally, they were from like last in the league to like
20 wins.
Yeah, I know. I
remember that's an accomplishment.
Little Caesars locations in Detroit were doing. It was like when the Pistons win, you win, and they were on like a 17 or 18 game losing streak.
Yeah.
So they weren't giving out anything. It was just like a joke. I remember seeing the memes about that. Yeah.
They can't do that anymore because they'll be broke if they give out.
Right. Yeah.
I think they're going to be that good this year. I think the Pistons can be a top 3 seed. That's a combination of what we said. The East is not as strong, but also because the Pistons are actually good. Like we can actually admit that they're actually a good team. And then the Pelicans taking on the Grizzlies. Pelicans are always a wild card. How many games will Zion Williamson play this year? Probably under 30 because that's
and do you even think he's that effective anymore when he's in there? Like
no, not really.
Right,
I think I'm glad you brought that up. I think for him to be at his most highest value, they're gonna have to trade him. He's gonna have to go to a team that already has 2 superstars, and he could be that third. I think that's what his highest, his potential can be. Can't rely
on him. Yeah, you can't rely on him to be the superstar. Especially, when he first got drafted, of course, because he was fantastic in college. Being a Syracuse fan, I know he was. He was really good.
That Duke team was sick too. I remember.
Duke team was unreal. But injuries obviously have riddled him, and he's just not. He hasn't panned out.
Yeah, and he's always like, he shows up in shape, then all of a sudden he's not in shape. It's a whole, whole thing with him. I think it's more of like he doesn't want to be there, so he kind of, doesn't care. If he goes to a team that can win games, he will be okay with, like, he'll be ready and like bought in.
Right.
Wizards probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league again against the Bucks. The Bucks aren't going to be the same as either. I think they're going to be, a little bit down just because
they've been
it's
down
Giannis and no one else.
Since they won.
Exactly.
They've been on a slow, steady decline since they won.
Exactly, and it's only going to get. I don't think it's going to get better for them.
No.
Then the Clippers versus the Jazz. I know people have been saying this. I've been looking at it. I've been looking at rosters because I love the NBA this time of year, and I was like, okay, man, the Clippers actually might have the deepest roster in the league. Not saying the most talented, but they can play. If they legitimately wanted to, they can play 13 guys in a game, and they would be okay. They wouldn't have a drop off. I think they're that deep. That doesn't mean you're going to win anything, but I think in a Western Conference where you look at all the teams that the Thunder have depth, the Rockets have depth, the Nuggets have depth. That's 3 teams right there. The Mavericks now have, some guys they can go to. For the Clippers, that bodes well for them that they're able to match up with that. So I think that they have the most out of everybody in the league. Then we got the Spurs taking on the Mavericks. So the Mavericks aren't whole yet just because Kyrie Irving is not going to be available for them. And, of course, that's their point guard. But Cooper Flagg, they got a lot of good going on in Dallas after, they traded Luka Doncic and everyone wanted to murder Nico Harrison. But I think he redeemed himself by somehow they were able to get the first pick of the draft. Don't know how they did that, but that's out of my hands and your hands. It's the NBA, doing a little something, I think. And then the Spurs are, they got Victor Wembanyama, one of the most talented guys in the league. And they got some players around him now. De'Aaron Fox will be ready to go. They got some other guys there as well. So I think the Spurs are going to be an improved team. But the West is so difficult. They can be improved and only go up to like an 8 seed. Like it's
Right.
not
Yeah.
really,
Exactly.
it's
The
tough.
West is too competitive.
It's really, really competitive. Then we got the Kings and the Suns. I think the Suns are going to be down a little bit this year just because they kind of cleaned house besides Devin Booker. And
Yeah.
then the Timberwolves and the Trailblazers. I think the Trailblazers can be an intriguing team in terms of just because they're so young. I think they have a lot, to go with. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Timberwolves, they were good last year. I think they'll be a good team again. And then Thursday, the Pacers will be making their debut against the Thunder, who are playing right now. And then the Nuggets will be making their debut against the Warriors. So I think the Pacers are another team. Halliburton not available. Miles Turner now in Milwaukee. They're not going to be as good either. So that's another team that's going to go down a little bit. But they still will probably make the playoffs because the rest of their roster is probably better than, some of those teams in the East. And then with the Nuggets, the same thing. I think the Nuggets are just going to – they're slow and steady every year, but they're going to be there, man. They're always find a way to get around 40 to 50 wins. They just figure it out. They do it. But yeah, that'll do it in terms of scheduling. And then before we move off the NBA, we always love giving predictions, so let's do that. MVP, we can do the MVP first, and then we'll do the finals matchup, and then who's gonna win the NBA finals. So Biggie, let's start off with you. Who's gonna win the MVP?
Oh man, I don't even know. Like,
It's very tough. One of the toughest years in a long time.
It is. I don't really have anyone. I mean, I feel like the NBA is one of those sports where you can't make this prediction very early. You know what I mean?
But that's why we're here. That's why we're doing
Yeah,
it.
I know.
Tough decisions.
And my NBA knowledge, as you know, is not very good. I don't know a ton about it. Like I haven't really followed in like 5 or 6 years. So because all right, well, I can give you this. I think the Knicks have a shot at making the finals this year. I think because they retained majority of the team. I know that the head coaching change, which I don't understand why they did that, but I don't think that's really going to affect them. And I think the Thunder are going to make it back. So, I see. The thing is, I don't know enough. So I would say someone from either one of those two teams, or some like I don't know. I really don't. I want to hear what you have to say, though, because you know more than I do.
So to me, I think the MVP, SGA can definitely, he can do that again. But I would say I think Victor Wembanyama is going to win MVP this year. I think having De'Aaron Fox is going to do wonders for him. De'Aaron Fox is a point guard that knows how to control the game. He can, dish it to him when he has to, give him less of a load than he was relied upon last year. But Wembanyama will put up crazy. I think he's going to put up crazy numbers this year. It's going to be insane what he can do. And you can always say Jokic just because Jokic, what he does. He's
I didn't want to say that. Like,
he's like
I didn't want to say Jokic,
but he's always there. Like he's always
like,
somebody you could say, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jokic just because. Like you just said, I know I'm gonna sound like a homer saying this, but Brunson, I think that Mike Brown coming in for Thibodeau is going to make a difference on the offensive end in terms of Brunson won't have to put up 40 shots a game. He'll put up 25 and still score the same amount and be more efficient, which that wasn't the case last year because now they have an offensive system. Last year they were just, you know what? Here, Brunson, do it for us. We'll figure it out. Which is not going to
relied on him, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll have to do that anymore. Which that he could be a dark horse. I don't think he will win it, but a dark horse just because he'll be more efficient. He won't be playing as many minutes either, which I think will get his productivity up throughout the entire season instead of front loaded, and then he falls off a little bit until the playoffs start. Because it seems like the last 2 years he was great until February, then falls off for a little bit either from injury or doesn't play well, and then the postseason comes around, he comes back up. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's going to be great throughout, just because the minutes are going to be lessened. If he needs an actual day off, he will get one. I think it's going to work out in his favor. And then for the finals matchup, so I think the Knicks are going to do it this year. I really do. I think they're going to get there.
I agree with you.
I just think that I know over the summer they were like, oh, Giannis is going to come to the Knicks. He wants to come to the Knicks. He still wants to come to the Knicks.
Yeah.
But we're not going to trade for him because they think this group is going to get it done.
Yeah.
But I think the trick that they have, or the something they can hold on to, is if this group doesn't start out well by January, you know what, Giannis, you still want to come here? Let's do it. If they're great by January, Giannis, we don't need you. We're just going to improve other ways. So they have that ability to do both. But listen, this team was 2 games from the finals last year, and it's pretty much the same team. And the one thing I talked about this just yesterday on my show, Knicks episode, I was like, okay, so you look at this Knicks team. What did they lack last year? An identity on offense. I think they have that now with Mike Brown, and then a bench. They actually did not. They didn't have a bench last year. They had 2 guys they can rely upon on the bench, and it got to 1 once they changed the starting lineup around. Now you brought in someone like Jordan Clarkson, who's a 6th man of the year candidate, who won't even need to play as much as he probably has in his career because they have so many guys. And then Gershon Yabusele, he's a guy that, you look at what he's done. He was a guy that was in the NBA. He got kicked out, not really kicked out, but, not signed by anybody.
Right, yeah.
Goes overseas. He goes to play for Team France last year in the Olympics, lights it up against Team USA. And you know who's on that Team USA team? Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. And then you look at Team France, you're like, who is this Yabusele guy? Like, you look at his numbers. He had no good numbers before, last year. Then he gets signed, picked up by the 76ers after making a name for himself, goes to the Knicks now. And this is a guy that he's a big body, underneath type scorer. He doesn't have to shoot, but he can if he has to. He's going to be a spark plug off the bench. And then you look at Josh Hart now going back to the bench. Josh Hart on the bench, a guy that was a really good quality starter last year. That's an X factor.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's how deep this team is. Yeah. And I'm gonna agree with you. I'm people may come after me and go, "Oh, you're just saying that you're a Knicks fan."
Right?
But no, man, I lived through the 20 and 52 record years or 62. 82 games, 20 and 62 years, 17 and 60 something lost years. So I'm gonna be happy, and I'm gonna tell people I'm happy when I think the Knicks can actually do it. And we've seen what they've done the last few years. They've gotten better. They've gotten deeper into the playoffs. And this is the year. The East is not as good as it usually is. We said that the Cavs are the one team that can get in their way, but I think the Knicks have done enough to get to that point where, you know what, we can beat the Cavs. And we got to show it tomorrow night. It starts tomorrow night.
It all starts tomorrow night.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow night. You don't want to do what you did last year. I know they did beat the Celtics in the playoffs, but you also went out last year opening night and lost by 40. You can't have that happen tomorrow night. Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart aren't available, which to me, they're the glue guys of the team, and they're both not available. That kind of sucks for game 1. I think they still can win, but they have guys that they can rely upon, and that's what I agree with you. I think they're going to make it, and I think they're going to win. I think this is really – I cannot wait till next year this time and be like, yep, the Knicks are holding up or hoisting the banner, putting it down. And next June, I should be at the I should be at the parade. That's what the goal is, and that's what every Knicks fan should be thinking about right now. And Biggie, you want to take care of that comment?
Yeah, I do. Well, I'll tell you this, Marty. Yes, I have been to Cleveland. Actually, I saw a Cavs game back in 2017 when they had Dwayne Wade, they had Isaiah Thomas, they had Jay Crowder, they had
the washed
Kyle
up
Korver.
squad.
Oh yeah, that I saw that team in November of 2017 play the Charlotte Hornets, and they won 100-99. It was a 1-point game. LeBron had a triple-double, I remember. Yeah, it was LeBron, Dwayne Wade. It was like the big thing, LeBron and D-Wade's, back together.
Yeah.
I remember Jay Crowder was on that team. Kyle Korver was on that team. Who else? Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, I remember.
It was a crazy roster. It was nuts. And then they traded half of them at the deadline.
Yeah, I remember that.
I couldn't believe it. That's when I actually still watched the NBA fully. And yes, it's in Ohio, buddy. I know. All right? Us PA folks aren't stupid.
This guy is relentless. Biggie, this guy is relentless.
I know. He don't know about the stadium traveling I do. I've been to –
Yeah, you've been to
I've been to – hang on. I can actually check on hand. Sorry to get off topic here, but I can check on hand. Here, how many different states have I been to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different states. Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Connecticut, D.C., Ohio, and Michigan. So, yeah, I do know where it's at.
All right. But yeah, going back, I had the Knicks, and I'm bought in with the Rockets. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to play the Thunder. I think they're going to play the Thunder in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs, and I think that the Rockets will do just enough to beat the Thunder. It's very hard to repeat. We all know that.
It's so hard, especially the NBA.
Yeah, it's very difficult. We don't see that happen in the NBA a lot, and I think the Rockets
much movement always. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it is. Of course it is, and I think that one of the guys that did move was Kevin Durant, and I think that he's going to get the Rockets there with the rest of that talented group. And then the Knicks. The Knicks are going to play them. The Knicks are going to win. That's where really I think is going to happen. Let's move to the NFL. Where, of course, usually when we talk about the NFL, it's injuries and just teams that are should be better and all that stuff. But let's start with the injuries. Buck star Mike Evans. So he was hurt from week 3 when they played the Jets. He hurt his hamstring, made his return last night, and got hurt again. So he has a broken collarbone. He will miss basically the rest of the season. If they said he can come back in December. Oh man, dude, he is he's something else.
I want to say he how old is he? I don't know how old exactly.
I looked today. He's 32. He's 32.
Oh, he's okay. Yeah,
he still has years left, but it's also
a couple years left. But like he was already out with an injury, and yeah, it's not looking good for him to be a consistent receiver for Baker Mayfield going forward.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up to you. So, well, first the 1,000-yard streak for him is over because obviously he cannot get all those yards. So 11 years straight of that, could have made it 12. That's not going to happen. But the question I have for you is: so within the last 2 drafts, they've drafted Abuka, McMillan, and Tej Johnson. If nobody knew that, because he's not really somebody that they had on their radar, but he's been really good for the Bucs. So that's 3 receivers they've drafted within the last 2 seasons. I think that the changing of the guard is starting to come with him and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin kind of, slowly getting phased out. And Mike Evans doesn't have another year after his contract. I think this is probably it for him in Tampa. He's going to wind up playing for someone else. That's what I wanted to ask you. Right? Is that what you think is going to happen?
Yeah,
just the circumstances.
He's obviously one of the greatest receivers. He's still a top receiver in the NFL, right? And he could be on the all-time list at the end of his career, right? He could be a top in the discussions for a top 5 receiver of all time. Yeah. But I just think that the Bucs are trying to move on a little bit, and it's not. I just think it's business. It's all business. You know what I mean? That's just what it is.
He's trying to get younger. We understand.
They got to pay the younger guys, I think. And especially when you're playing as good as Baker Mayfield is right now, get him some younger weapons, and the Bucs will be, favored to win the Super Bowl in the next couple of years or so. And I know what people say about the head coach. I personally think he's all right. People don't like him. I think he's still a pretty good coach. I mean, obviously, you have good results. You're obviously a good head coach. That's just my opinion.
I agree. I just think he does foolish things.
If you're winning, you have a good head coach. I think personally, because if you don't have a good head coach, stuff's not going right. You know what I mean? You're not going to be winning.
No, you're right.
I mean, I don't think a head coach can hide behind talent. That's just I just don't think
not in football. Not in football.
No, not in football, because I just don't think in football it really can't. You can't hide behind that. That's just me. That's my opinion. People may think differently, but I disagree with them if they think that way, because I think you need a good head coach to succeed. If you don't have a good head coach, you're not going to be good.
I agree with you. I agree 100%. And we'll see what happens, but it seems like that's the way it's going. And now this injury kind of puts a little like the lid on the trash can, if you want to say, in terms of Mike Evans's career not really going to be with the Bucs. But he'll go to any other team that has a good quarterback, needs another weapon. Listen, if I'm the Giants, I don't want me as a Jets fan, I don't want the Giants to be good.
Right.
But if Mike Evans is available, him and Malik Neighbors, but you're a star. Well, looks like he could be a star. Jackson Dart. You have Mike Evans and Malik Neighbors there with him, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Scary.
That may be the one more guy that you need in the passing game there.
Yes,
and
I think
there you go.
And a veteran that knows how to, he knows how to win. He's done it.
Right.
And he went through the losing in the beginning of his career, and then he got rewarded with the winning. So if I'm the Giants, that's one of those teams that I know. I thought of that at the top of my head. That's something you gotta look out for. Someone like that, or a team that just has a veteran QB that's looking to add just one more piece.
I can't wait for how you doing, by the way, because I have a lot to say about Syracuse. A lot.
All right, we'll get to it. It. And I just before you were saying about Cat, how many points you dropped tomorrow, and I think Cat's gonna have a monster game. I think I forgot who I was talking to this about. They were asking me who's gonna be the guy that benefits the most from Mike Brown's offensive system. That man, Karl Anthony Towns. He's gonna be a monster, and especially I talked about this just on yesterday on the episode. I was saying so last year, Karl Anthony Towns had to play the true center position, which he has not had much success with in his career. He's more beneficial when he plays the 4 and has someone playing next to him. Like in Minnesota, when he played with Gobert, that was his best year of his career. And now I know Mitchell Robinson's not playing tomorrow night, but when they get their roster whole, he's going to be at the 4, Mitch is going to be at the 5. We saw what happened in the playoffs when they went to that. Yeah, they didn't win, but he had monster games against the Pacers. I think Cat puts up at least 25 tomorrow and 10 rebounds. I think he's going to be really, really good for the Knicks this year. And I think the system's going to open him open up. And then Biggie, for you, going back to football. So Brandon Graham, man, where the hell did that come from?
Oh
He's
my
back.
God. Wow. What?
Like, where
That's
did
the
that come
last thing
from?
you'd be. You told me this a couple weeks ago. I'd be like, what?
Who knew he
Yeah.
was he even training?
I don't think so. But I guess he saw them lose back-to-back games like that and was like, "Oh, I got to come back. I can't let this happen." No.
Oh, man.
But yeah, no, this is crazy. I mean, I don't know how effective he's going to be. I mean, he was still really good last year for the Eagles in his final year. He was still very effective. I don't know if it's going to be that way now, but hey, I'll take it. I love BG, so I mean, that's pretty cool to see it. I guess maybe with Zadarius Smith retiring.
Yeah.
Maybe after that happened, there were some talks about, hey, would you consider coming out of retirement? You know, you just retired. You know, maybe you'd want to come back because, you know, I think it's pretty crazy that he's back. That's just it's nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's already won 2 Super Bowls with them, looking to try to get a third, which is very possible. It could happen. And yeah,
Yeah, no,
like you
I
said,
don't know.
it is possible. Listen, I
It
don't
is,
think they'll
but
do it. I don't think
not
they'll do it,
no,
but not as like they don't
not with
have as
Kevin Patullo as
high
the
a
offensive
chances.
coordinator.
Yeah, I don't think they have high as chances as they did,
No.
the past few years. Then Nico Collins last night suffered a concussion in last night's loss to the Seahawks. So the Texans are already lacking in terms of weapons just because of injuries, and they lose their best. I think Nico Collins, he's out for a Texans offense that has not been good this year. They have
Yeah,
struggled.
underwhelming. Texans have been
Yeah.
so underwhelming this year.
It seems like CJ Stroud hasn't really developed. It seems like he kind of stayed the same and
I say
even perhaps got worse.
he kind of peaked after they had that stunning run after they hired D'Amico Ryans. After they hired him and they had that playoff run, he hasn't really gone up since then. So
Yeah, no, he hasn't, and it's unfortunate.
yeah,
Carson Wentz will still be the QB1 for the Vikings, as JJ McCarthy will be out. This game's on Thursday for him, so the Carson Wentz experience does live on another
yeah.
week.
Unfortunately for them.
Yeah, they need JJ back. I mean, they know he wasn't playing great, but he's the future. You need to get him back.
It's his first full season playing football.
Yeah, he's
Carson
learning.
Wentz looked
He's
like
learning.
he was playing for the Eagles the other day. I mean,
He did.
Wow,
He did.
we picked
Like
him
we
up.
said,
Yeah.
put the blindfold on the eyes. He's just gonna throw it up, and wherever it lands, it lands.
Yeah,
That's what he's gonna
landed
do.
in our hands, huh?
Oh man, watching him it's entertaining. I mean, compared to what
it's
I
very
watch,
entertaining. It's great. It's great.
compared to what I get to watch. I'd rather watch that someone throw 5
right?
picks than throw 50 yards.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Carson Wentz experience does live on for another week.
Sadly,
but let's do the recap of Week 7. So let's do starting off with last Thursday when we had the battle of the I forgot who said this. I think it was Cam Hayward, the Icy Hot Bowl or Uncle Bowl, whatever you want to say. But that was a great game, man. Last Thursday, Joe Flacco.
The Bengals pulled out.
We said don't let the Bengals get this game because they're going to start getting on a little bit of a streak. And they might get on a little bit of a streak, and then before you know it, Joe Burrow will be back, and then the Bengals might be in the playoffs. Watch out. The Bengals can actually score points now because Joe Flacco was functional, unlike Jake Browning was. Yeah. And listen, Flacco threw for 342 yards, threw the ball to Chase and T. Higgins. That's all you have to do. If you're on the Bengals, you're playing quarterback, you have one job. Actually, two jobs.
You said, they finally have someone that, that could do it. You know what I mean? Someone that could actually do it, because you have that talented receiver room, but you need a quarterback that could do it. That's why they're so good with Burrow, because Burrow's elite.
Yeah, he just feeds those guys.
He can feed those guys, right? That's the thing. They can feed those guys. If they had a better defense, they'd be great. Oh my God.
We said that they can't stop anything, but they can score if they have someone that's able to, get the job done. And I think the Bengals can do just enough to keep themselves afloat until Burrow comes back. So, I mean, and for the Steelers, that was an opportunity missed right there. You could have got up like 4 games in division in Week 7, and now you're only up 2. So that kind of switches things a little bit for the Steelers. And now they got a big game, which we'll get into later on because we're going to pick it. But they have a big game coming up on Sunday night. And then Sunday morning, the Rams took care of the Jaguars 35-7. I didn't get a chance to watch this game because I was driving up to the Jets game, but I kept checking the stats and everything.
Yeah.
And Stafford threw 5 touchdowns. He looked great. Devontae Adams had 3 touchdowns. So Puka wasn't available, and they still put up 35. Just shows how good the Rams are. And the Jaguars, Biggie, they're one of those teams that if we had a rank, like say we ranked NFL teams, which I think we're going to do next week just because it would be 2 months in. Yeah. The Jaguars, you don't even know what they are. Like we really don't know what they are.
I'm very disappointed. After the game against the Chiefs, I was really high on them.
Look what they did the last 2 weeks.
What are they doing? What is going on?
I don't get it. Listen, I'm not saying they should have beat the Rams, but you don't get blown out. You don't get
No, they
blown
got
out.
killed. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got blown out.
Yeah, in the last 2 weeks, I don't even think they scored 20 points combined the
Yeah,
last 2 weeks.
because
And
they scored
after
12
beating the
against the
Chiefs,
Seahawks, and then
and
they scored 7.
so
Yeah.
yeah, not even 20 points. And then they go out there and beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs look like they're world beaters again. So like, what is going on with the Jaguars? They are we can't even like rank them really. The next week when we put them
No.
up, we're gonna be like, where do we even put these guys? The next game was the Bears. So the Bears are on a 4-game winning streak. They beat the
Yeah, they
Saints
look good.
26 to 14. Looked good again. Caleb Williams looked really, really comfortable. Bears were up 20, and then they kind of get that lead. Let the lead get away. They didn't
At
blow
least
it, but
they
they got
didn't really. Like,
yeah.
someone did. And I have a comment here I want to talk about. If you want to go to it now, we can, because we're kind of in the point of talking about games.
The Giants one, keep it for a little bit.
I
Yeah,
say let's keep it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. Then the next game was the Browns taking care of the Dolphins. We thought that would be the game when someone gets fired. Unfortunately, the Dolphins look like they're trying to tank for the first pick. Them and the Jets, I don't think they could have been more blatantly obvious that they don't want to win this year.
Yeah.
And Dolphins did beat the Jets the first time, so now the Dolphins have to beat them again.
Which I think they
personally,
will.
I don't want to see the Jets win this year. I mean, they're 0-7. It's over. It's been over, but now you know
10
what?
more to go.
Add fuel to the fire. Let's keep losing, and hopefully that means we get a new coach next year. Probably not, but because we like to, we enjoy having Aaron Glenn here because he's such a great coach. I don't know where it's been, but he is so great. He gets a pass for having Justin Fields as a quarterback that he handpicked. But we'll get to that and how you're doing a little later. Then we got the Patriots beating the Titans. Patriots continue to keep. They keep plugging away.
Big game for Mike Vrabel, though.
Oh, it was great. They were cheering him on in the stadium. They were cheering him on. It was a road game. That was great. And Biggie, we're gonna keep saying it. Drake May is one of the next guys, man. He is a stud. He looks so great. What can coaching do for you, man? Look at that. Look at that, man. Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, OC of the Patriots. He's been experienced. He's been around. Yeah. Man, Drake May looks like a little baby Tom Brady, honestly, right now.
He really does. He's playing really good right now. The Patriots are fun to watch.
5-2. They're 5-2 and we'll talk about it later, but they got the Browns coming up. Looks like and they're home, the Patriots. Yeah. You should win that one. That'll be 6-2. And man, they're up there, one of the best teams in the AFC, and they can do everything. They can stop teams defensively and score if they have to.
Even their defense looks good too.
Much improved. Yeah, much improved. And they really don't have that many different players. They've added a few, but not crazy difference. Right. Then the next game here, we got the Chiefs. I don't even know what you want to call this. The Chiefs beating the Raiders, I guess, 31-0. Raiders. They said the Raiders only ran 30 plays the entire game, so that's like what? That's like 6 a quarter
for an NFL team. That's horrible.
Crazy bad.
Oh wow!
And the Chiefs, they got Rashee Rice back. They got Xavier Worthy back, healthy.
Yeah, they're back.
Kelsey, they got man. They are scary.
Like he's supposed to.
Yeah, and Mahomes. The last couple of years they were like, we're not going to throw deep. Mahomes is letting it rip right now. He looks like he looks like the beginning of his career again, letting it absolutely eat, and it's working for them. Then your Eagles beat the Vikings 28-22. I think the Vikings left a lot of chances on the table in terms of scoring touchdowns, and they didn't. They probably outplayed the Eagles besides turnovers and field goals.
Besides Carson Wentz, I think they absolutely did. Watching that game, I agree.
Yeah, the only positive to me from being an outsider you can take away from that was Jalen Hurts actually threw the ball down the field.
Yeah,
that's a good sign.
He looked like a quarterback. Yes.
Yeah, he did. He did look like a quarterback.
And A.J. Brown got a lot of nice targets as well. So
yeah, he had a big day, and Devontae Smith had a big day as well. But Barkley's still struggling. They need to get it going all together. Like that's what they need to do. Yeah, you can't pass for all those yards at the expense of a run game. You got to be able to become balanced, which I don't know why they're having an issue when what they did last year. But they have time. They have time to figure it out. And if you're winning and not playing, your best, that's a good sign. And that means they're a good team to me. I think that's the case. Yeah. Then the stinker game of the week, of course, because I was there. The Panthers beat the Jets 13-6. Panthers are at 4-3 now, so they are in the playoff race somehow. Bryce Young did not play great, but he got hurt as well, so he'll be out this week. That's the big news. Andy Dalton will have to start against the Bills. But the Panthers did not impress me at all. I wasn't really impressed by them, but they are still winning games. I don't know how.
They still beat you guys.
Yeah, it's not nothing. I would be like, if they I was like waiting for the moment when the Jets actually, you know what, we're gonna actually win this game, and it never happened. It never happened.
Right. Yeah. No. There
But
it is.
yeah, it is what it is. And then you can bring up that comment if you want about the Giants. So the Giants were up 19-0 in the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they lost 33. Yeah, 33 points they let up in one single quarter.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Cannot happen.
For
Really
having a
cannot
good
happen.
defense too, which I think
Well,
they
they think
do.
they do. They think they
Well,
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I didn't want to say it. I was gonna let you say it, but yeah, they think their defense is elite. It's really not.
No.
But yeah, I'll go first on this one if you'd like.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think they fire Dable. I don't think this is the year that they fire him. Um, I think the reasoning for that is he won Coach of the Year a few years ago, right? And obviously they do have some firepower. They do on offense with Scatterboo and Jackson Dart. Their defense does have some studs, but after a game like that, you don't really, that's bad. Like that's really really bad. But I also don't think you pull the plug on Brian Dable after this season. I think if you end up making the playoffs or just barely missing out, maybe you could. But if not, if you get into the wild card, I'd give them next year. If you give them next year, I think that would be it after next year. Even even if they don't make the playoffs, if they're really close, because they definitely have some firepower, I don't think he's gone after this year. You know what I mean? If they didn't
Yeah.
fire him after they went 3 and whatever last year, they're not going to fire him after this year. I think if they don't improve at all, if they don't make the playoffs next year, then maybe I'd say yeah, they're going to pull the plug on Brian Dable, but not after this season. I'd be shocked if they did after this year.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get to. So Jackson Dart being a rookie, I don't think they want him in terms of the front office ownership. I don't think they want him to experience another like learning another system, learning another coach. I think that Dable is getting saved by that because yeah, besides his first year, he made the playoffs and he took a roster that probably didn't belong there.
Yeah.
Hasn't done really anything. He hasn't done anything since then. But now, to
Yeah,
his
not really.
credit, looks like Dart is ready to play. So that's a good thing for him. But yeah, wins do matter. I understand. Like now, he probably saves himself a little bit. But if they go the rest of the season, say they win like 3 games or less, I could see him being let go just because they are in these games. They're not getting you have a chance to win Sunday, you don't do it. You have a chance at beating Dallas earlier in the season, you don't do it. That's 2 wins right there. You change that around. You're an over 500 team right now. Going
Right.
into week 8, going to Philly, only 1 game out of first, and you have a tiebreaker. That changes things. But I think that because Dart is a rookie, that Dable gets himself at least next year, and they're going to go in the offseason. They know, all right, we have a quarterback. We can spend like on every other position that we think we need. And
Right.
I think they can do that. And like how we talked about Mike Evans before, I'm sure there's gonna be other veterans out there that they can bring in at receiver to beef up that a little bit. They have pieces there for sure on both sides of the ball. I think they're okay. But yeah, I think he'll be here next year just because of Dart. If it was like Russ playing the whole year and they didn't have a quarterback waiting in the
Yeah,
wings,
maybe I
then I
could
would
see
say, yeah,
that,
he's gone.
but
That's
even
not the
with
case.
that, I still wouldn't. But
Yeah.
I see the point you're making with that, though. Yeah, they wouldn't want to give Jackson Dart a whole new system after that.
I think that's what's going to save him his job at least for next year. And if they go out next year and they even if they start off bad in the beginning of the season, then I could see, you know what? Yeah, we don't even want you now. We're going to get rid of you during the year. So next year
Right.
he will be on the hottest of the hot seats in the
Yeah.
league
Yeah.
if they
No,
keep
I
him.
agree.
But yeah, I don't think they're going to let him go just because Dart actually looks like he's can be something really good. Like he doesn't have anybody right now in terms of like throwing the ball to. He has not because Neighbors is out. And yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson is good, but he's really a good number 3. He's not like, anything, anything better than that. But yeah, I think the Giants have a bright future. I just think that they have to really go for it next year, especially with being on a rookie contract. Let's get back to the
Yep.
games here where we got the Colts once again winning, scoring 38 points. They can score by running and throwing. Danny Dimes, Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, all the receivers, the offensive
Unreal.
line. They are outstanding right now at 6-1. Beating the Chargers by 14 points. And the Chargers, listen, that was a home game for the Chargers. Disappointing for them. They're another team. They look so good, and then they just don't. I don't get it. They're just kind of stuck in the middle. And they have that game Thursday, like we said. They need to get that win to balance out what just happened on
Right.
Sunday. Then the Cowboys beat the Commanders 44-22. Dak looking like an MVP candidate once again. Got CeeDee Lamb back as another weapon to the mix. Defense actually looks a little better for the Cowboys. I know it's only one game, but it did look better. Jaden Daniels got hurt. We don't know how long he's going to be out for, but the Commanders struggling defensively, and Jaden Daniels staying healthy has been a problem for them. They already have 4 losses, and they only had I think 7 last year, so they're almost there. That's the team that looks like they're not going to make the postseason. I don't think they will. And then we got the Packers beating the Cardinals on the road 27-23. This is a game that the Cardinals were played really well in. I think Jacoby Brissett the last 2 games, he almost beat the Colts and the Packers, who are the top 2 in the league right now in terms of record wise. So that's something that if Cardinals fans have something to look at, you'll be like, oh, we actually stayed in games against good teams, but you need wins. So like we talked about, you need to go out there and win football games. Then Sunday night, the 49ers beat the Falcons 20-10. So after the Falcons come off of, a big emotional win against the Bills, showing that they're here, they're going to be a team. They go out against a 49ers team that has no business being 5-2, and they are, because they are well coached team on every side of the ball. Everything that you think of with that 49ers team, coached well, and they're going to get healthy, and they're going to be even more scary than they are, because they've had Brock Purdy, I think, for 2 games this year, and they're still a 5-2 team. So the 49ers have something, man.
I'm surprised, honestly, because of how off and on and how often their injuries are to their key players.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I feel bad for them.
I do too. But man, they're not falling off. It seems like for the most part. No. For the most part, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're winning games. Like, listen, they're not doing it pretty, but they are doing it. They're winning games. It does not matter. In the end, it doesn't matter how you win it. Monday night games from yesterday, Lions beat the Bucs 24-9. Lions defense looks great. It's coincidence that they look better without Aaron Glenn. And then the Seahawks beat the Texans 27-19. Texans defense is still, to me, the best in the league. They forced like 4 or 5 turnovers last night, and they still kept them in the game. Even though the Texans, couldn't do anything. And the fact that the Seahawks scored 27 points and turned the ball over 4 or 5 times shows how good that offense is, that they're able to overcome turnovers. Seahawks are really good. I didn't think they were going to be this good, and they are really good.
They haven't fallen off. I mean, they've been, consistently good, because, at least I thought, a game or 2 here and there, they're not going to look great, but they really haven't looked terrible at,
5-2, man. Yeah, they're 5-2. They're 5-2 along with the 49ers and the Rams. But Biggie, let's do this. Instead of doing a quarterback who impressed you the most from the last week, let's do a team who's impressed us the most this entire season. So I'll go first. We'll switch it up a little bit. I'll go first here. I think the team that's impressed me the most this year is the Chicago Bears. I didn't think they were going to be that good, and they're 4-2 right now. And the fact that Ben Johnson got Caleb Williams, looking really comfortable is a positive sign. They do have a tough schedule coming up, but I think that they can weather the storm. I think they have a chance, man, at making the postseason. I think they're very much in the mix.
Okay. I'm going to go to the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, obviously they're not a team that, is surprisingly good. It's the fact that they're able to still be 5-2 with how, like I just said, often, and how many of their key players are usually out and in. Like, it's like crazy. You don't know if Mac Jones or Brock Purdy's playing. You don't know if CMC's ever playing. You don't know if Kittle's. I mean, they're just injury ridden, and they're still 5-2. So that really impresses me. I when guys went down for them, I'm like, they're done. This and that.
But they're not.
They somehow are still 5-2, so that really impresses me for how often the roster, their active roster, changes for them to still be in the position they're in.
Yeah, and then I guess we could throw in an honorary team, Colt. They're another team. Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about them so much.
yeah. Those are 2 other teams that have impressed the most. And then I didn't write this down, but let's do it like one of the teams that disappointed you the most so far. I would go with probably the Ravens. I would say is one, just because I know they've been injured, but still they should be better than 1-5. And then a team from the NFC, I would probably say the NFC. Commanders, probably. The Commanders should be better than what their record is.
Not as elite as we all anticipated.
Yeah, especially like year 2, Jaden Daniels, year 2 of Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury being there. We thought they would be better. I know they've been dealing with injuries and stuff like that, but they should be good enough where they can overcome that. And both teams should be better than what their record is. And then an overreaction. So to me, my overreaction, I think that I don't know why this is annoying me so much, but the fact that the fact that the Cowboys are able to win games without a defense, that kind of like I'm like my overreaction is the fact that they have a chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah,
And with the
with that
defense
bad of a
that sucks.
defense. Yeah,
It really pisses
I
me
hate
off
this,
because
especially as an
I
Eagles fan. That pisses me
oh
off too.
oh man, it's like come on, like your defense is that bad. You don't even have NFL guys on that defense, and you can still make the postseason. I mean, credit to the way Dak is playing in that offense, but still, the defense stinks, and they're somehow still alive. And listen, I would not be shocked if they go out there and get some guys at the trade deadline on defense to try to, beef them up a little bit to make a run at the postseason. I don't
Right.
think Jerry Jones is ever afraid of making a move. So we'll see what happens with that. But what's your overreaction from, although I
Yeah,
guess we
from
could say
these.
7 weeks or even from last week, whatever.
Yeah. The Jaguars. I mean, they've played bad the last 2 games, and they're 4-3 right now. And then after beating the Chiefs and then even having a winning record right now, we're like, okay, this is a dark horse, to make a team to make the playoffs. I don't even think this is an overreaction. There's a chance they don't. But their schedule is very favorable, so it could be an overreaction because you look at their schedule and like, oh, they're going to get in. But I don't. I think they miss out somehow because they have the Raiders next, which is not this week. They're on a bye. They have the Raiders, the Texans, the Chargers, Cardinals, Titans, Colts, Jets, Broncos, Colts, Titans. So they have a favorable schedule. But
Yeah.
the way they've been playing, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs even with that easy of a schedule. I don't know if that's much of an overreaction, but I think personally it is because, you look at that schedule like, oh, they have a shot to bounce back, but like you just beat the Chiefs and you don't even put up 20 points in your last 2 games. Like, I don't get
Yeah,
it.
very, very. Like we said, it's a strange team, that they have over there. And then let's do week 8. We'll go through the schedule quick, a preview, and then we'll do, of course, a QB to watch and the fantasy guy, or a group, whatever the case may be. Let's pull up week 8. We got Thursday night. We had the Vikings taking on the Chargers. So both teams definitely really need a win in terms of playoff positioning and all that stuff. Chargers probably need to win a little more just because they were started out so great and now they looked awful. But the
Yeah.
Vikings actually, they need a win as well just because they have been really bad with Carson Wentz on their center. And then Sunday, no London game or international game this week. So
All
our
in the
first game.
U.S., yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a month straight of
Yeah,
international
I
games.
want to
So
say it was too, yeah.
yeah, so thankfully we can sleep in a little more on Sunday. We don't have to worry about getting up and watching any of the games. So the first game will be the Dolphins taking on the Falcons. Dolphins are, we already know, we said it, they're garbage. Falcons
Yeah.
will probably handle that one well. Then the Jets with Tyrod Taylor taking on Joe Flacco. It's another matchup of the old QBs. Also, Tyrod was his backup, so that's a little storyline there. Tyrod was Flacco's backup in Baltimore for a little bit.
Yep.
Browns taking on the Patriots. Patriots should handle that one. I think that shouldn't be an issue for them. Giants taking on the Eagles. I don't see the Eagles. No way in hell they lose 2 times to the Giants, especially in 3 weeks. You never know, but I just don't see that happening. Bills taking on the Panthers. Doesn't have as much juice now that Bryce Young is out, and the Bills are on a 2-game losing streak, coming off a bye, so they need this win. They need to win this one, and they need to win it like convincingly. The Bears taking on the Ravens. Ravens coming off the bye week. Don't know if Lamar is playing or not, but still, regardless if he is or he isn't, if they want any chance at the playoffs, they need to get it going with the win this week. 49ers going to Houston, take on the Texans. Listen, the Texans are 2-4. They're another team. Once you get to 5 losses, very difficult to try to make the postseason after that. And for the 49ers, keep building, man. You don't have any guys that are healthy right now, and you could still steal wins here and there. I think this will be a low-scoring game where the 49ers will probably come away with it just because their defense, can get that extra turnover or whatever the case is, a sack, something. The Bucks taking on the Saints. People are probably like, "Oh, the Bucks are going to blow them out." Saints are not as bad as we think they are.
No,
not
they're
even close.
competitive every game. Yeah,
they're in it. They're in it somehow every game, and especially at home. They've been in all the home games for the most part. Then the Cowboys taking on the Broncos. That's going to be a really good game. Broncos at 5-2, but the last 2 weeks they've looked terrible against the Giants and the Jets.
Yep.
Titans taking on the Colts. That'll probably be the worst game of the entire week. Colts should nothing special. Colts should probably beat them pretty bad. Sunday night will be the Packers versus the Steelers. we're gonna pick that game, and we'll give it later on. But in terms of the game itself, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love replaced Aaron Rodgers.
I know
The
it's
only
a
thing,
lot of storyline.
Biggie, the only thing missing from this is the game being in Green Bay instead of Pittsburgh. That would have put the
Right,
icing on
right.
the cake. But Sunday night will still be a good game. Steelers need to bounce back. Packers gonna continue to try to win games, and they're in first place right now, so they can shoot a try to keep that. And the Steelers are also still in first, so a battle of first place Sunday night in Pittsburgh, and then Monday night we'll wrap it up with the Commanders with or without Jaden Daniels, probably without him, going up against the Chiefs and Mahomes, who look great on Sunday, and they've won their last two, and now they got their offense looking like they're going to be, functioning on everything. Everybody's healthy. Everybody is ready to go. Mahomes looks great. Chiefs are scary. Of course they are once again.
Right.
And let's do our QB to watch from week 8. So if I had a pick, I'm probably going to go with if Lamar plays. If Lamar plays, I would go with Lamar just to see how he looks. If he can run, because the hamstring injury, it's kind of prevents you, of course, from accelerating.
Right.
I don't know if
that can hurt you.
Yeah. So if he's healthy, I would go with Lamar. If he's not healthy, I would keep my eyes on Bo Nix. So Bo Nix against a bad Cowboys defense. No excuse this week. You have to go out there and score points from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, not 33 in the fourth quarter, not 13 against the Jets. You got to go out there in the first quarter and, score consistently against the Cowboys defense. That is really bad. But if Lamar plays, watch him just in terms of how he's moving. If he's limited at all, any of that stuff. And then if he can't play, Bo Nix, keep an eye on him just because the Broncos game they should win just because I think they're the better team, but they have not played great, and Bo Nix has been up and down besides one quarter of football against the Giants on Sunday.
Yeah, well, I would say my QB to watch this week just because of the matchup would be Michael Penix Jr., but he is questionable for the game Sunday against the Dolphins, which I think the Falcons should win pretty soundly, and he's been pretty good this year. So in a literal sense, I'm probably going to go against what you say. Caleb Williams, I'd say again, I mean, he's just been playing fantastic. I think he's going to continue that because even if the Ravens have Lamar back, I don't think their defense is that good right now. Because, obviously the injuries are hurting them, but I also think, when you have that offensive power, it helps you a little bit, but, you don't have a great defense right now as the Ravens, and they're usually one of the best, which is,
that's a problem.
Really down Ravens defense. So give me Caleb Williams to put up another great game.
Yeah, and what I wanted to talk about with that game before was the Bears are 4-2. They're still underdogs in this game, and this is a statement. This is a statement for the Bears. Yeah, you're 4-2.
Yeah.
If you win this game, okay, now we take you seriously because Listen, it's like it's the name, the Ravens. Like we know what they could be, and we know what they are over the course of every single year. This is an outlier year for them, and they're not out of it. They're not out of it yet, but they just have not been good. They haven't been good, so that's something that you need to, they need to go out there and they need to do something. And the Bears, listen, you win this game, you're like, man, we're here, we're for real.
It's a statement win if you get it, like you just said.
100%. Because last year the Bears started off 4-2 as well, and they didn't win a game for like 8 weeks. So the same thing can happen. You don't know what exactly what can happen there. And then a fantasy guy to go with. So I haven't brought up a defense at all. I always like to kind of think out of the box. So if you can get the Falcons defense, I would do that because Tua is he just, I don't know if he's doing it on purpose if he doesn't want to be there anymore, but he is throwing the ball to the other team very, very much. A lot. He's just turning the ball over a lot. And I think the Falcons, who have the number one defense, if you have the Falcons, put them in there. If you don't have the Falcons, they're a defense that's worthy of trading for because they're that good. I mean, if you have a defense where on your team where you're switching it out every week or you don't have faith in them, pick up the Falcons. They're the number one in the league. They're playing a really bad Dolphins team this week. And regardless of who the matchup is, but this week especially, they're playing a Dolphins team that is atrocious. Falcons defense, I think, is something that you can go with.
Okay. For me, I'm going to go Tyler Warren just because for a rookie tight end, Daniel Jones is throwing to him a lot, and we have a game coming up for the Colts that Tyler Warren will probably get a lot of catches and a lot of yards and probably a couple 2-3 touchdowns. So Tyler Warren.
Yeah, and if he's on your team, of course, play him. If not, that's a guy worthy of trading for, especially a tight end, unit as a whole this year in terms of fantasy that has not been great. I think they're just like, it's top heavy. It usually is like that, top heavy, like 8 tight ends that are usually good. He's one of them. So I would definitely, if your team is maybe on the fringe of the playoffs and you need another guy to get you a ton of points,
There it is, right there.
Swing a trade for Tyler
Yeah.
Warren. If not, keep putting him in your lineup every week because he is that type of player. Let's move to the MLB. We'll keep this one quick, and then we'll get to the NHL quick as well. So the World Series has been set. It'll start Friday night. Toronto Blue Jays won. They beat the Mariners in 7 games last night in the ALCS. What a game it was. They were down 3-1 in the bottom of the 7th. George Springer gets up there, hits a clutch home run. Listen, he's had plenty of home runs that are clutch in his career because he was on the Astros for all those years. But that might have been one of the most clutch he's ever had. So he got them to the World Series. They still had to close it out with 2 innings after that. But that was a really, really clutch home run. And for the Mariners, heartbreak. They never made the World Series before. They came so close within 1 game of making it. Maybe a pitching move that shouldn't have been made. Another guy could have been in a different circumstances, whatever it is. But they had a chance, and they weren't able to close that one out. And then they're going up against the powerhouse of the Dodgers. Everyone knows what they are. Dodgers have lost 1 game the entire postseason. Probably will beat the Blue Jays, but I think the Blue Jays do have a fighter's chance. I'm not saying they're going to go out and win, but I think they do have a chance. And to me, the Blue Jays have the first 2 games at home before they have to go to LA for 3.
And that's clutch.
If you want to win the World Series, you have to win the first 2 games.
Yep.
If you split, you're not going to win the series. Just LA is that good where you can't let them. If you get them down 2-0, then you still have those last 2 games on the back end at your place again, where you can be like, okay, we still have our home games. But if you go up 1-1, if you're tied 1-1, then you go into LA for 3 games, you're not going to come back. It's not going to come back in your favor. You may not even come back to Toronto.
Right,
LA might end it in 5.
Right, which
they're that good.
We've seen. We've seen.
Yeah. It's LA is it's unreal how good they are. They got Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto, Ohtani. That's 4 guys. Those 4 guys are going to start the first 4 games of that series. And you're like, man, we don't even know if we have a chance. But the Blue Jays can hit. That's one thing I give them. Their offense is really good. And to add to that, Bo Bichette's going to be back. So their shortstop that they've been missing for a while. That's a big shot in the arm for the Blue Jays. Like, I don't know how much he can play or what he can do, but having him available is big. And I'm sure if they're saying he's going to be available, he's going to be available to really go and put his body out there because he can't DH because that's Springer's job. Springer can't really play the field anymore. So Bo Bichette has to play shortstop if he's going to play, and he has to be in that lineup. So we'll see. But that's a big news that came out for the Blue Jays. If they want to really think they have a chance, that's a big guy to have in that lineup. And then just some historical context of Blue Jays in their first World Series since 1993. And of course, the Dodgers were in it last year. They're trying to go back to back, and they've been in a ton of World Series. Since COVID, before COVID, and now after COVID, they've been a mainstay in the World Series. And then some other MLB news: Angels hire Kurt Suzuki as manager. So he was a former catcher for a long time. I think this is a good move for the Angels. It always seems like catchers can make good managers just because of their leadership. And from anything, watching Suzuki, he wasn't the best player out there, definitely not.
Right.
But he was a quality MLB catcher, and I think he could be a really good coach. He was within the Angels organization already, so that's not going to be a big change for him. He's already there. Just wasn't coaching. He was more of like in a front office role. But I think for an Angels team that has a young, talented squad, I think having someone like Suzuki can learn as he learns. I think it's going to be, in the MLB, you can get away with that inexperienced coach. I think because there's so many games in the season where maybe if you screw up, you can, build off of that, which is not the case in the NFL when you have someone like Aaron Glenn who's trying to learn how to coach within 7 games. That's a problem. In the MLB, you have an entire season to do that. So that's something to keep an eye out for. But Biggie, you have anything on the World Series? Because now by the time we do next week, we'll be in 2 games. But anything in terms of what you got on like a preview for these first 2 games coming up?
No, I agree 100% with what you said. Toronto has to get up 2-0 because
has to.
Because I know, as the Yankees went last year, it's in LA's just they're just that good. If you can get up 2-0 on them, especially the first games being in Toronto, I think that's huge. If you don't, you're gonna lose. The certain things have to go the Blue Jays' way, like things like that, like very minuscule type things have to go their way. But It's just the Dodgers, man. I know all too well. I mean, last year was an embarrassment. I hope that doesn't happen to Toronto because I like Toronto. I have a Bo Bichette jersey. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know. You told me about
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So, I am a Blue Jays supporter, even though it's a division rival. Support them, So happy to see them in the World Series, and I don't like the Dodgers, so it's nice, don't like them. So, yeah, I think part of it is gonna have to be getting up 2-0 early, or else
Yeah,
you're done. You're done.
I agree. I agree. Like I said before, they have to. They have to get up 2 games, or they're done. Don't have a chance in that series just because the Dodgers have all that depth behind them with the pitching staff. Let's move to the NHL before we hit college football, of
Yes.
course. The Vegas Golden Knights, they lose their goaltender Aiden Hill to a leg injury, and they were the only two undefeated teams left. They're one of them, and now they lose their starting goaltender. That sucks for
Yeah,
them.
that hurts them a lot because they're a team that, and like the thing with them, um, Vegas, Vegas is always like it's since they won the Stanley Cup in 23, they haven't been a team that's consistently good throughout the year. So like they start off really well and you're like, "Oh, they're back. Vegas is back." It's crazy to say a team that's been in the league for less than 10 years already has that pedigree of, "Oh, it's Vegas." You know what I mean? Like it's just you don't see that with expansion teams, especially like
No.
they only came in the league in 2017. But they do. And I think they're one of those teams that, as the year goes on, they underperform. They start off really well, but then they underperform. So I think this hurts them quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Like in terms of that team, they need him, and he's not there for them, which stinks. And let's do the NHL standings. So Biggie, I'll let you do the Eastern Conference. I'll do the West if you want, and then
Sounds
like
good.
if you want to stop and talk about any team, just talk about them because I know there's some teams that have been playing really well that we didn't expect, and some teams that are
Right. Yeah.
used are some teams that are used to being at the bottom aren't. So that's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. And obviously it's very early on in the season to say anything. But yeah, there's some teams that are, leading right now that you're like, really? Wow. Okay. A little early,
Yeah,
nice start from you guys. So we're going to start in the Eastern Conference. We're going to go in the Atlantic Division, which I can tell you is nothing like the Metro, but it's kind of looking like it right now.
it is. It kind of is.
Detroit Red Wings are 5-1. They have 10 points on the year. I mean, really?
Look at
The Detroit
look
Red
at
Wings?
Detroit.
Look at them. And Montreal, they're 5-2. Like, like we're seeing Montreal and Detroit in the top two of the Atlantic Division. What's going on, right? Toronto, who
I don't think we expected that.
no, not at
None
all.
of them.
And then Toronto, who lost Marner, and I think that's a big piece to lose for them, but I think they still have a decent amount of talent. It's 3-2-1, or 3-2-1. They're third, which makes sense. I mean, they're still pretty decent without Marner, but they're not as good, obviously. And then Florida's 3-4 on the year through 7 games. They only have 6 points on the year. So a little bit of a sluggish start for the Panthers. They'll be fine though. I think they're still going to win this division as the season goes on. That's just how they are now. I think. And then Boston, they're the same. He's the exact same. They're tied with Florida. Another team that's kind of is in a rebuilding type of stage almost. And then the Buffalo Sabres. They are 2-4. They won. They had their first win of the year last week against Ottawa. They won 8-4. Like put up 8 goals on the Ottawa Senators.
Crazy.
And then they won again. So they're obviously not very good at all.
No.
I know that for sure. But yeah, I mean they're ahead of Ottawa and Tampa Bay, who's 1-3 right now. I mean, Tampa Bay is just not what they used to be, man. That franchise's heyday is over.
Yeah,
And Ottawa,
I was going to
Ottawa
say
is one of those teams that has a guy or two, but just doesn't have the complete team to do anything really. They're not very exciting. They're kind of forgotten, to be honest with you.
yeah, with the not Ottawa, I'm sorry, Tampa, we said how they're a team that was on the decline. And listen, we talk about this. You see any sport, any year, you think about teams that win championships or get deep in the postseason consistently. There gets a point where they can't, hold up anymore, and they start to decline a little bit. And it seems like that's what the Lightning, they're starting to decline. But listen, they had tons of success. That's it. You're done. We want more
now
new
it's time
teams.
for the other Florida team.
Yeah, now it's time for some other teams to win games.
Yeah,
and win
the same
championships.
state too.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Florida
after,
hockey, you gotta love
and
it.
then, and then after the Panthers win next year, but okay, we don't want you anymore next. Like we need some new
Philadelphia
blood.
Flyers.
We need some new blood. Yeah, really, you're right. Like we need some new blood. So no one is sad that the Lightning aren't, the Lightning aren't killing it right now. We're kind of not enjoying it. We're not saying we're enjoying it, but we're not. We're not all upset that they're not doing it. So, oh man, I was gonna say, thankfully that's not the case because
Yeah.
there's some teams out there who are like tired of them winning, and they're not. So that's they're done. And then Biggie, what do we got on the Metro? Because the Metro, like you said, going to be very competitive, and it has been so far. I mean, you look at it;
Yeah,
every team is
it
doing
really
okay.
it really is. It's honestly it's kind of shocking that the Atlantic and Metro are kind of the same right now, but I think, the Metro's obviously a little more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina's leading right now. They look pretty good. They look, like they should. They're a good team. Right behind them is the Devils. They're 4-1. Carolina was 5-1. They've played one less game than Carolina. So I mean, the Devils look pretty good. I mean, the Devils have had this. They've had a expectation on them for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So and they're playing well right now. Will it pan out though? I don't know. It never usually does for them, unfortunately. And then Pittsburgh surprisingly playing really well right now. I did not expect that at all. But they're playing really well. And then I know obviously from having one of their farm teams around here. I mean, they're like farm teams are really good. Like Wheeling in the ECHL and then the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins in
Yeah.
the AHL. They are good. They got some really good guys. And then Washington, I mean, we kind of knew they had a really good season last year. We kind of knew that they'd be all right. I mean, they'd be in there in the mix as well. I think this is Ovechkin's last season.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to retire after this year, but they still got a good team. Philadelphia Flyers, they're impressing me as a fan. I could tell you that the Philadelphia Flyers they're 3-2-1 on the year through 6 games, and I personally think that this team is major improved from last year. I just think it's that young core.
I say it seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously Michkov is Michkov, we know that, but he hasn't even been the top player. I mean, Zegras is playing pretty decent. Cam York, when he's healthy, looks really good. Well, Tyson Forrester's been playing really well. It's a guy people don't talk about a lot. Tyson Forrester's been playing great, and then Sean Couturier actually has picked it up this year a little bit. Obviously, he's our team captain, and but his production's been down as a veteran on the team. His production's been down. He's actually looking pretty good, and then Vladar in net looks great. My God, we finally have a goalie that's actually decent, and look what we do. We actually play good hockey. You know what I mean? When Arrison's in there, and you know what's crazy? I looked at this the other day, the goalie stats. Vladar is blowing him out of the water stat-wise, and they've played the same amount of games. So yeah, I think it's finally safe to say that, I think, Vladar is definitely better than Sam Arison. We're finally seeing that Sam Arison's not really that good. Vladar has played 4 games. Arison has played 2. Arison has not won a game yet. He is 0-1-1, and then Vladar is 3-1. So I really don't know what to say with that. The stats really don't lie here. Goals allowed against Vladar is 1.75 and Sam Arison is 3.88. I mean, and then the save percentage, Vladar is a .929 and Arison is a .849. I just, I just think there's a big difference here between these two, and it's showing because we finally have someone that's pretty good, and Sam Arison finally has another goalie that has a goalie that's better than him in front of him. So it's finally showing that he's not that good, and I'm glad because everyone was giving him way too much praise. And then the Rangers, disappointing so far. They were supposed to. I thought they started off okay, and then I'm like, okay, it's a couple games or two, but now, man, it's just. I thought they'd be all right with Mike Sullivan at the helm and JT Miller being healthy coming into the season. They still have a great team, man. I don't know what's going on. Columbus, from where they were a few years ago, they're improved. They're 2-3 in the year. They're not, again, the Metro's very competitive. The New York Islanders are 2-3 as well through 5 games. They're just not there. They don't have that firepower. They just don't have it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean the Metro's been pretty competitive, and I know I went a little in depth, but the how you doing I'm saving to be all Syracuse, by the way. That's why I'm talking more in depth about my teams in these other segments, because how you doing is simply just going to be how's Syracuse doing. So yeah, that's why I went a little more in depth there. But yeah,
nope, that's
there
good.
we go.
Yeah, I wanted to just touch on the Rangers because I know I'm going to forget. 0-4 at home and only one goal scored at home. That's not like the Rangers. The Rangers are always known as a team that plays great on home ice at the Garden, and that's just not the case this year. I don't know what the problem is, why they're not playing great at home, but it's not good because they've only had 1 goal in 4 games on home ice. Not a good look. And they're lucky they're undefeated on the road in terms of regulation, and they did get the 1 point because they lost in overtime. They're very lucky that they're able to, they were able to overcome not starting out great at home, and they got to pick it up. They have the most games played in the Metro as well. So you have the most games played, and you're third to last. So that's not good. Not a good start. And Igor Shesterkin has been great. He's been nails to start the year. He's been really good in every single game he's played. He looks back like to his normal self. And then we got the Western Conference here. Avalanche at 5-0-1 with 11 points. They're always up there doing well for themselves. Winnipeg at 5-1 with 10 points. The Mammoth at 4-2 with 8 points. I don't think anybody expected that, but they're in there at third place. Blackhawks at 3-2-2, so that gets them 8 points because those 2 overtime losses. Wild at 3-3-1 with 7 points. The Blues at 3-2 with 6 points. Stars at 3-2 with 6 points, and the Predators 2-2-2 with 6 points. So it seems like the Central is well balanced so far. I don't think there's anybody that stinks compared to the Pacific when we get to that. Right. It seems like we talked about hockey last week. We're like, yeah, the Pacific and the Metro are going to have the depth of the league. And we couldn't have been more wrong so far, which is always funny and nice when you look at it and you're like, oh, I guess we were wrong. But yeah, the Central and the Atlantic have the depth right now, in the Pacific and the Metro. The Metro does, but not to what we thought it would be. Let's go to the Pacific, where the Golden Knights, who we said before they lost their starting goaltender, but they're still in first, 5-0-2 with 12 points. Vancouver Canucks at 4-2 with 8 points. The Kraken at 3-1-2 with 8 points. Anaheim Ducks at 2-2-1 with 5 points. Edmonton at 2-3-1 with 5 points. Disappointing start for the Oilers. And Kings at 4-3-2 with 4 points. The Sharks at 0-3-2 with 2 points, and Calgary at 1-6 with 2 points. So it seems like the Kings, Sharks, and Calgary will probably be at the bottom throughout the entire season. I don't see that. And the Ducks, I would say, could probably stay towards the bottom as well.
The Ducks are going to get better, but it's not much better. They're not elite. I'm not saying that, but they are going to get a little bit better, I think.
Yeah. So they can definitely improve, but they won't be really up there in terms of the standings. Let's move to college before we hit how you doing. Another big name coach let go, Biggie. Billy Napier out with the Gators. What do you make of that? I want to hear your take.
Okay,
on this.
You ready?
And wait, before you go, who can take over there? Like it's gonna be a big name just because of where they are.
Give me my theme music, James Franklin.
Oh,
there
man.
It is.
Wow,
there
okay.
It is. Florida. Do it. Hire James Franklin right now. Do it. That's all I got to say. James Franklin. I have nothing else to say about Napier's firing. James Franklin. There you go.
All right. We'll see. James Franklin going to the SEC. I don't know how that would work.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. An SEC team. So
yeah, that's right.
That true.
No, that could definitely be one of them. And they're going to go big name fishing. Like, they're not going to settle for, anything less. They're going to go for somebody that's
for their high expectations.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, 100. Yeah. Let's go for the Week 8 recap here. So I'll take care of the notable games, and then you will get in deep into college football like you usually do.
The meat and potatoes, as you like to say.
Yes, the meat and potatoes, the good old meat and potatoes. Miami. So the U goes down against Louisville. So they were number 2 coming into the week, and they suffered a horrendous loss to Louisville. Well, listen, Louisville's. I'm not saying they're bad, but the game at the U should have won. And you want to be considered a top team in the nation, you have to win that game, and they didn't. So they lost by 3 points. Carson Beck, had 4 picks in that game. Awful performance by Carson Beck. And then followed up by another awful performance, Nebraska losing to Minnesota on the road by almost 20 points. So Nebraska was newly into the rankings and had put up probably one of the most ugliest performances of the year from any team.
Yeah.
Dylan Raiola looked very uncomfortable throughout. They couldn't get anything going offensively, in the defense. It's hard to stop or continue to stop somebody when your offense can't do anything for you. Ohio State and Indiana, they cruised to 2 victories. Ohio State has given up 6 points a game this year through 7 games. That's insane. 6 points a game, not even a touchdown. I mean, yeah, a touchdown before an extra point. That's how good they've been. Indiana, of course, they're cruising as well. Fernando Mendoza looks like he's on his way to being the number 1 pick of next year's draft, and I have some interest in that because my team currently holds the number 1 pick in the draft. So I will definitely, if I can, every week keep my eyes. And any Jet fans watching, keep your eyes on him every week.
Yeah.
That could be something we can look forward to. I mean, knowing the Jet way, they'll probably fail him as well, but at least we have some hope. Well, any little bit of hope we will go with. So Fernando Mendoza, keep an eye on him over the next 10 weeks or so. Georgia takes down Ole Miss. So Georgia was underneath him in the rankings. Now they've, of course, moved ahead, beating Ole Miss. I think we kind of figured that to happen. Georgia did lose a game, but it's also like Georgia is Georgia. They're they're good.
Isn't that what I said last week?
You did. Georgia, you nailed it on the head. Yeah,
they're Georgia. It's this. Yeah. That's just how they are.
Yeah. And Ole Miss has good teams every year, but they always, they're not. I'm not saying they're Penn State, but they don't win those high profile games.
No, they don't.
That they should, and they probably should have won
somewhere else. I'm telling you that right. That's another one of my predictions there.
Who's that?
Lane Kiffin's out of there. He might go to Penn State.
I could see that, and I could see that happening. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Alabama, of course, still a wagon. I mean, they have looked. We said it after week 1. They got embarrassed. They have not looked back. Nope. They've been really good. Texas Tech, they were up there in the rankings, losing in an embarrassing fashion on the road.
Win there for Arizona State there.
Yeah, they should have won that game. LSU loses against Vandy, and then Biggie, I actually got in the meat potatoes for this one. UAB picks up their first win with interim coach Alex Mortensen after they fired Trent Dilfer. So Trent Dilfer was not a good player and obviously not a good coach either.
And not a good analyst either.
And yeah, that too. I forgot about that. He used to be on ESPN. But the UAB beat Memphis, who was ranked. So they didn't beat any bum team.
Yeah,
they beat
that's
a ranked
big win
opponent.
for the Blazers. I mean,
and look at that.
Wow.
Look at that. Alex Mortensen, son of Chris Mortensen, the guy that worked on ESPN, who he passed away now. But he was on ESPN. He was always with Adam Schefter, like they were the main 2 insiders. Yep. His son is the interim there, and he got the big win for his first game debut right there. Pretty cool stuff. And then what do you got from week 8? The recap.
Well, I could tell you this is a team that I follow. The Delaware Blue Hens. What are we doing? You got embarrassed at Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State, mind you, they have a winning record now, but this was a team who was struggling to beat an 0-7 Sam Houston team. This is a team that you should beat by a good amount. Delaware definitely has shocked a lot of people because they've been really good since they came up to the FBS ranks. But to go lose that game, like Jacksonville State's okay, but that's not a game you should lose. After beating UConn and then winning the games that you have up to this point, you should not be losing to Jacksonville State. And they got embarrassed. Like the score was 38-25, but it was way worse than that at one point. I know Delaware, they did have a few injuries, but you don't go lose that game. I know people are going to think I'm nuts because I'm talking about the Delaware Blue Hens like this, but come on. You know what I mean? There's a standard there for them now. You know what I mean? They've exceeded all expectations, and, they really have. For coming in their first year of FBS, they have exceeded expectations. I'm excited to go seeing them in 3 weeks. November 8th, I'm seeing them against Louisiana Tech at Delaware. I'm excited for that. Let's see, who else did we have? Sam Houston, like I just mentioned, they're 0-7. UTEP got their second win of the year. Tulsa and East Carolina, I mean, that game ended how I expected it to. Tulsa's not very good. ECU's hit or miss, and I knew that was going to happen. Cal and UNC was actually a really close game.
It was. UNC should have won that one, too. They fumbled in the end zone.
And that's been the story for the Tar Heels all year. They're just embarrassing. Bill Belichick, what are you doing? We're not going to talk about that one yet. You suck, Ricky Collins. Let's see. A&M and Arkansas was a really close game. A&M holds on to win that one, though. Oregon and Rutgers, I knew Oregon was going to have some vengeance going into that game. They were up 42-3 at the half, I think it was.
Yeah, it was something crazy.
You knew after that loss, they were going to be, fired up. And obviously Rutgers is one of those teams that I think could compete, but is just not there yet at all. I think in a couple of years they'll be okay, but they're just not there yet, right?
Yeah.
And then USC and Notre Dame, wow, big win for the Irish.
Big win for them, yeah.
10-point win. I mean, that's pretty impressive. That might help you a little bit, you know what I mean? and you know, you guys play Pitt, and they could. When's that game is what this weekend, right?
Oh
Is
no,
that
they're off this weekend. They don't.
okay? So the week after, right?
I know. I think it's BC after that. I can check for you. Let me pull it up. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
they're at BC, which they'll win by 50.
Yeah, BC has one win right on the year.
Yeah,
Then
they're
Navy.
terrible. They're
Then they
so
have
bad.
Navy, and then they have Pitt on
Oh,
the
that game's
road.
out for a while, so Pitt could even be ranked by that point.
Yeah, November 15th. So it's like almost like a
I'll
three weeks.
talk about my gripes with Pitt later because it's just embarrassing. But enough about that. South Florida beats FAU by a good amount. We talked about UAB.
South Florida. I was gonna say. I don't want to cut you off there. They're looking like they could be the group of five
Yeah, after
representatives.
Memphis lost, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Michigan beat Washington by a good amount, 24-7. UConn goes into Boston College and beats them soundly. Some nice New England
You
football
said.
there.
I think you said that was gonna
I did.
happen
I
last
told
week.
you UConn was going to beat BC, and they did
Yeah.
38-23. I mean,
Bad
there
look
it
on
is.
BC. Bad look
Yeah,
on BC.
yeah, but UConn's not a bad program. They're Jim Mora Jr. is doing a fantastic job there. I think I'm a big believer in the UConn Huskies. As you know, I like the teams like that, like Delaware, UConn.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of those teams, right? And then let's see who else do we got. Dude, Bowling Green got killed, 27-6. And Bowling Green has been a team that, you know, at least for MAC viewers, have been pretty surprising this year. Central Michigan went in there and beat them by a lot. The Chippewas are now 4-3 on the year. Tulane and Army was actually a decent game. 24-17 was the final on that one. Big fans of Tulane here. Yep, big fans of them. West Virginia, your loss to West Virginia keeps looking worse and worse by the day. UCF dominates them. Miami, Ohio, and Eastern Michigan. Miami, Ohio is 4-3 on the year. They look pretty well. And Toledo and Kent State. Kent State is after getting their first FBS win in 3 years, which is, again, that team's coming up next that I'm going to talk about. I can't say it on here, but just remove the M from their name. That's just how they are. Toledo wins that one by a lot. Toledo is one of the better teams this year in the MAC, I'd say. Obviously, I think the Ohio Bobcats are, the elite team in the MAC right now. That's what I think. They probably have the best pedigree in the MAC right now. And then Buffalo, man, they're finding ways to win. I don't know how they do it. They're 4-3, and they struggled with UMass. Like I just talked about, they struggled with Eastern Michigan. That game was a 1-point game in overtime. I just don't understand how they're doing it somehow. They're winning, but they're struggling with these horrible MAC teams. I mean, you almost lost to Kent State. You almost lose to UMass. You go into overtime with Eastern Michigan, but the Bulls are winning. The Bulls are 4-3. Go Bulls. As you guys, I think I've mentioned on the show before, my uncle played at Buffalo, so I obviously root for them in a sense. So they're finding ways to win, and they're struggling with these teams. I don't know how they're doing it, but I think the year before last year, they only won 3 games. So props to them. They've rebuilt that program since 2023. So. Northwestern shuts out Purdue. Purdue, I think we can officially count them as being bad again. Northwestern is still 5-2 somehow, even though I think they're not very good at all. I just don't know. And then SMU, like I said, was going to beat Clemson. They beat them by a lot. The spread was 1.5. SMU won that 35-24. Clemson just continues to stink it up.
They've had. I mean, coming into the year, everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to be a national championship like type of team." And what's their record now? They've lost at least 3, right? I think it could be more than that. Yeah,
and their losses aren't good losses at all. I mean,
No.
Syracuse now looks like a terrible loss. At the time it looked like it looked good for us, but now it looks bad for Clemson. Struggling with Troy. Then the Georgia Tech loss was, again that kind of sparked the Jackets there in that one. Beat UNC, which happens. Beat BC, which makes sense there. But SMU, I think they're playing some better football now than they did at the beginning of the year. Let's see, Boise State, man, I did not think this was going to happen. They killed UNLV, 56-31. UNLV is very hit or miss this year as well. 6-1 on the year, and you see them getting some close games. You get them, in some of these closer games, and that one just shocked me a little bit because Boise State, I think, is not as good as they were last year, obviously, but not to the point. UNLV is not at a point to be getting beat by that much by them. Coastal Carolina, They get a nice win at App State. That was a big one for them. Coastal's been a little off this year, and they needed that one. Um, let's see. Ball State and Akron, 42-28. Akron is pretty bad. Ball State's not much better. Two kind of lower tier MAC teams going at it. Northern Illinois, again, another team in the MAC that's not very good. Ohio, like I said, I think is probably the pedigree program in the MAC right now. I just think personally it's very competitive right now. Conference play at least has been competitive. Buffalo is undefeated in conference play. Miami, Ohio is. Western Michigan, Ball State, CMU, and then Ohio at 2-1 in conference play. They're freaking sixth. And there's 3 undefeated teams in conference play, and then Ball State and Central Michigan are also 2-1. So it's the MAC's very competitive.
Competitive,
and
yeah.
that top 8 teams. Below that, though, they suck. I mean, UMass is terrible. Northern Illinois is very good. Eastern Michigan's bad. Kent State's terrible. Yeah, so there's that for you. A little MACtion. Let's see. Let's go through a couple more here. Crazy loss for Penn State. Oh my God.
Oh,
they were
and
so
did you see what they
close.
were doing too?
Yeah.
They were playing 2 quarterbacks, but like rotating drives. Like they weren't even like what are we doing? They're a mess. They're a mess. And the leading passer in that game had 93 yards. That's. I mean, when Iowa's involved, that usually things like that happen. But like still, 93 yards in a college game. Penn State, what is that? Their 4th loss in a row now. They might not even make a bowl game at this rate.
Yeah, they might not.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, no. Big win here for UCLA. They beat.
They're on a roll. They're on a nice roll now.
They're 3-0 since firing their head coach. And Maryland is kind of Maryland started off pretty well. They've kind of fallen off a little bit. But again, they've played some tough games down the stretch. They played a close game with Washington, Nebraska, and then UCLA was really hot right now. It was won 3 in a row. And then one of the weirdest college football games of all time: Oregon State hosting Lafayette College.
That game was tied at halftime. You know that? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. The small FCS school from Easton, Pennsylvania, goes out to Oregon State. It's just crazy. The Beavers held them scoreless to the second half. They get their first win and probably will be their only win of the year, unless they play like Wilkes or something or Marywood flag football or whatever.
The Jackrabbits.
Yeah. If they play the Jeek Rabbits, shout out Jeek Rabbits. Next they do have Sam Houston on their schedule, so that's going to be an interesting one. That's a Saturday 10 p.m. game on CW. I'm going to be tuned in.
The CW, the good old CW.
Yes. Yeah, that's really it. And then obviously what's going on with Florida State? Norvell's probably out at the end of the year. You lost to Stanford. What's going on? That's their 3rd straight loss, right?
Something like that.
Fourth. Since the Virginia game in double overtime, they haven't won since their last win was Kent State on September 20th.
Oof.
Yeah, so
that's not good.
Not good for Florida State.
Not good at all. Let's do the Week 9 preview. So I'll just take care of the ranked games quick, and then you can obviously step in again. So there's only 3 ranked matchups this week. We got Ole Miss versus Oklahoma, which both teams obviously need that win. They're both with 1 loss right now, so that's big in terms of SEC and also the CFP. Missouri versus Georgia Tech. Was that right? Did I have that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, that made no sense. I was going to say that makes no sense. Missouri versus Vanderbilt. Vandy now in the top 10, so that's a big, big matchup,
huge matchup
for both teams. But Vandy, if they want to, try to make the playoff, this is a big win for them. And then Texas A&M versus LSU. So Texas A&M, they're at number 3. They're going on the road to LSU at night, which is tough, but I think Texas A&M is a little different than this year than past years. I think they got a little some extra juice to them. I know their running back is out in Moss, but they have a lot of talent littered all over that team. And Elko's a good coach, so I think they're going to be ready for that game. And anybody that beats LSU, I'm all for it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Biggie, any other games that will catch your eye before we do the top 25 ranks?
Actually, quite a bit. We have 2 games going on at the moment. We have Kennesaw State at FIU, 24-14 at the half. FIU is actually, they have 3 wins right now. Kennesaw State is 4. So improvements from both programs, 2 not great programs. Kennesaw State just moved up to FBS not too long ago.
Yeah.
So 10-point game at the half, and then Louisiana Tech and Western Kentucky. And again, this is another one of those not FCS, non-Power 5 matchups that Western Kentucky is one of the better teams I know in those ranks. So they're beating Louisiana Tech pretty soundly. Tomorrow, Delaware should be able to get a win. They're playing Middle Tennessee, who is 1-5 this year. They're really bad this year. So Delaware should get another win. They should bounce back with a win. Cal and Virginia Tech, I have no faith in Virginia Tech. They are awful. Boise State, Nevada. Boise State should win that by a lot, especially for how much they put up the other day. Let's see. Rutgers and Purdue will be interesting. I think Rutgers can get this road win. SMU at Wake Forest. Wake Forest is, I'm not very high on them. I know they're 4-2, but I'm just not sold on them at all. Bowling Green and Kent State. Bowling Green should bounce back this week. Ohio at Eastern Michigan. Ohio should win that. Buffalo, it will be a close game because every single bad team they've played, they're hosting Akron. That'll probably be a 1-point game, even though they should win that by 20. UConn at Rice. UConn is rolling right now. I think they win that one. Bama's going to put 30 up on South Carolina, 40 maybe. Let's see what else we got. NC State and Pitt. Now, I'll talk about Pitt more later, but this game I think could be really interesting, to say the least. Temple at Tulsa. Temple should get another win. They had a big win against Charlotte this week. They're 4-3 on the year, so they're improved a little bit. Not even worth mentioning UMass. And we have a really good game in the MAC coming up Saturday. Western Michigan at Miami, Ohio. Two of the top teams in the MAC right now. That one should be really, really good. Let's see. Who else? There's not a lot of great games, really, to be honest with you. Not many that are even catching my eye. Yeah, I mean that's really it. Some action, some good action, and
not a lot of not a lot on the plate this week.
Some decent ACC and Big Ten games, but the MAC is actually probably the best conference to watch this week. I'm being honest with you.
There's really nothing. That's
there's
what
some
I'm
really good MAC games this week. They're like seriously like that Western Michigan and that Western Michigan versus oh my god, I'm blanking right now. Western Michigan at Miami, Ohio is going to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So it's more of a down week. I mean, we were on a streak for probably a month of just unbelievable games and and things like that. But we never know. They could be games this week that turn out to be great that we're not expecting. But yeah, over the last month, we've had some heavyweight matchups that are going back and forth, and we will get some more down the stretch. But let's do the rankings here. I'll start it off. We'll switch it up from last week. I'll go do the first 13, and then we will have you do the rest. So I'll start with number 1, Ohio State. They've been in that spot since the season started. I mean, to be honest with you, they haven't done anything to lose the spot. I mean, they're letting up, like I said before, 6 points per game. Julian Sayin, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, outstanding. You can't stop them. You can't stop anything about Ohio State, and they have a very, very good chance of going back to back.
Yep.
Then Indiana at number 2. So this is a team that they were in the rankings to start the year. No one really took them seriously. And people are taking them serious now. 7-0. They've moved up a spot because Miami lost, so they're up at number 2 now. Texas A&M at number 3. They're also up 1 spot. They've looked great as well. Your first 1-loss team at number 4, Alabama. They're up 2 spots, and they've looked like we said a wagon since they lost in week 1. That week 1 loss does sting, but the way they played, they've pretty much erased what they did in week 1 after
Definitely.
that. Week 5, ranking number 5. This is what happens when you're tired. Ranking number 5, Georgia at 6-1. They're up 4 spots, so they went from 9 to 5 after their win over Ole Miss. Oregon at number 6, they moved up 2 spots, so they recovered after their loss last week, and now they're up. They lost to Indiana, of course, and then they beat Rutgers. They didn't even beat them. That's not even the word to describe that.
Right.
Number 7, Georgia Tech. So ACC has some love here. 7-0. They're up 5 spots from number 12. Ole Miss at number 8 after their loss. They're down 3 spots. Miami at number 9. They're 5-1 record, and they're down 7 spots if they lost to Louisville. Probably should have been down a little more, but the issue is because Notre Dame's at number 12. You can't put Miami underneath Notre Dame. That's why they're still up there. Vandy at 6-1. They're up 7 spots after their big win. BYU at number 11. They're up 4 spots after their nice little win they had. They're undefeated still. They're still 7-0. One of the few undefeateds. They're still there. My Fighting Irish, number 12. They're at 5-2. But listen, they're on a 5-game winning streak. You got to win 5 more, and you're in the CFP. They're up 1 spot. Oklahoma at 13. They're 6-1 on the year, up 1 spot. So they recovered from their loss as well. So a lot of teams, they lost a couple of weeks ago. They've recovered and bounced back. And then the teams that did lose really didn't drop that far out, and they're still, a part of the rankings. But
yeah,
Biggie,
except for this next one here, Texas Tech.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
7 spots after their loss to Arizona State, a big upset win there. Texas Tech not having that same. They're down their running back too, so that also hurts them as well.
Yeah, it hurts.
Missouri, they're up 1 spot. They've been pretty solid this year. Bo Perbola, you're playing great. Penn State, you let the wrong guy go.
Maybe you should have convinced Drew Aller to go to the draft.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Virginia is up to 16 now. They look pretty good. They're
pretty
playing
good, yeah.
some good football right now. Tennessee dropped 6 spots, which I understand. Tennessee's weird because I feel like they're very good, but they're also not at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Like the Jaguars.
Yeah, they really are.
Pretty much.
And they are. And then South Florida, they're making a case to be the non-Power 5 team to make the or Power 4 team to not make to make the college football playoff.
Yeah, the group of 5.
Up to, yeah, group of 5. I mean, yeah. So they're gonna they're gonna make some noise. I think they do it. I think they're gonna go forward and do pretty well. Louisville stays where they're at. Obviously with the big win against Miami, which dropped them down quite a bit. And Louisville's been playing other teams pretty well, so I think they're deserving of their ranking. LSU drops 10 spots after losing Vandy. Vandy, I think, is legit. LSU is kind of fallen off a little bit. Don't know if they're going to go any farther than they have now. Cincinnati is also in the top 25 as well. They finally did. They're up 3 spots as well. Good for them. Texas is down to 22. I think having them in there is... No, it's crazy because they were the number 1 team coming in the league.
They looked awful again last week, though. I'll tell you that.
They did.
They have not looked good all year.
Yeah, and then Illinois, another one of those teams that's, in there, but not really. Arizona State, they get in there, which understandable. They should.
Big win.
And then Michigan's in there at the top 25, which I think part of this was because of Nebraska losing. So that's why these two got in here, I think. And Arizona State had a nice upset win, and then Michigan had a big win over Washington. So that helps them. But I also think with Nebraska getting embarrassed, I think that helps. That helped them a lot. So others receiving votes, Southern Cal had 97 votes. Utah with 40, Tulane with 37, Houston with 34, Navy with 28, San Diego State with 7, JMU with 6, which is JMU looks pretty good. They've been pretty good since they came up from FCS. They've been playing really well. Yeah. Boise State got 4 votes, which I could see. They're starting to pick it up a little bit, but I still don't think they're that worth being in the top 25. TCU also with 2 votes, and Minnesota with a vote, which... yeah, obviously a big win for them, but I just don't think they're a top 25 team.
No, not at all. They haven't really, done anything all year. And then just to wrap it up, dropping from the rankings with USC, Memphis, Utah, and Nebraska, of course, ending that one. But let's do how you doing here before we do our pick'em. Biggie, since you want to talk about Syracuse and we just talked about college, I'll let you kick it off. Let it eat. I know you were at the game. I don't want to add fuel to the fire, so maybe I should stop talking. But yeah, just go ahead.
Wow. Yeah, it's official. We're not making a bowl game. I could tell you that 100%. And Fran Brown showing that he hasn't coached more than 20 games. He's coached, I think, 20 games now. Obviously, a game management mistake there. We go to the point where we put in the true freshman Luke Carney, like I told people we're going to do. Luke Carney's going to see some time this year. What do you know? 3rd quarter, we take Ricky Collins out. He's thrown only 4 touchdown passes this year through 3 games and probably about 150 picks. He cannot get the ball to guys consistently. He has a couple good throws, but then you get some pressure in his face and, I'm throwing it out here. Oh, and it's picked off again. Like, he just can't get comfortable. And now it makes sense why we brought in Steve Angeli. It makes a lot of sense because I think Ricky Collins was never the answer. And for Fran Brown to lie to us and get us actually excited about this team, to tell us that the QB competition was close, when reality, we brought Steve Angeli in for a reason. I can't believe that. Like, how you gonna sugarcoat something like that? Because obviously we knew, and going into the season, we're like, oh well, if Steve Angeli goes down, we have Ricky Collins. Look what happened. We suck. We're terrible. Okay. Luke Carney, give the kid a shot. Like, he was doing fantastic, by the way. I don't know if you saw any highlights. Luke Carney looked great. For a true freshman quarterback, he looked really good. He could run the ball. We're running around a QB draw with him. He looked really well. He's making some nice check down passes, and he gets 2 drives, right? We have some momentum. What does Fran Brown do? 3rd and 9, take him out, put Collins back in the game. Collins takes a sack, and the whole dome leaves. I leave. All the fans leave. We start booing it. We start booing Ricky Collins. The dome erupted. I'll tell you that. Even before the play happened, when Ricky Collins went back in the game, the place started booing him immediately. It's just a bad time for Syracuse. It's a developmental period and having a very difficult schedule. And there was a post out today by one of the major college football Instagram pages, gauntlet of a schedule, at Georgia Tech Saturday. Home against UNC next week, which we should win. I had to think about that for a second. We should beat them. They're sorry like we are.
You were shocked. You were shocked that they actually have a chance, at winning. So that's why you forgot.
Yeah, right. Exactly, right. And then we're at Miami, at Notre Dame, then BC. So we're lucky to have BC and UNC because we're going to beat them.
And those aren't locks, though. You never know.
Nothing's a lock.
The way they've been playing lately.
We might finish 3-9 at this point, JD. It's just, I think Fran Brown needs to give Luke Carney a shot. Like, Ricky Collins is just not it. I don't know what, he just can't get comfortable. He looks scared. He makes such quick decisions, and he keeps throwing the ball to the other team. What are we doing? He's not it. And you told us in the offseason that this QB competition was really close. It clearly wasn't. Angeli's elite. Ricky Collins sucks. Sorry, he does, okay? I'm not saying that, there's not potential there, because there 100% is, but it's not there right now, and you need to make an immediate change, especially when you give Carney 2 drives, and then you take him out on a random 3rd and 9 and take a sack, and that basically kills all our momentum going forward, and we lose the pit. And mind you, our defense played well. We got 7 sacks on Saturday. We had 7 sacks. Pitt's O-line got beat up, and they still won that game. We still only were managed to put up 13 points. So you tell me what the problem is, okay? You know what I mean? You tell me where the core issues lie, because obviously Ricky Collins is not it, and you take him out. Okay, great. Keep him in the game. I don't care that he's a true freshman. I don't care if Collins has been around longer. Give the kid a shot. You don't put him in for 2 drives and then take him out, and then look what happens when you take him out. I couldn't believe it. That was a poor decision. It really made me upset, because it's just a bad look on you as a head coach, or whoever decided to do that, which obviously I think it falls on Fran Brown. But for you to make a decision like that, and an impactful one too, because of the play of Collins, I think it looks horrible on you, and that was one of the worst decisions I've seen made. This is stuff that Dino Babers would do. But I will give him this. In his press conference, he flat out said it was his fault. Dino Babers would have never done that. None of those guys Scott Schaefer wouldn't have done that. None of the guys before him would have done that. The only guy who would be Paul Pasqualoni, who was the head coach from 88 to 2004, when they were good. They haven't been good since he got fired in 04. Obviously, but it's good seasons here and there. But this is a developmental year, but you can't develop if you keep making stupid mistakes like this and keep putting your trust in Ricky Collins. Give the kid a shot. We're not making a bowl game. Like, even if we win 2 more, we're not making it, because we're not beating any of those 3 freaking gauntlets of teams. We're not doing it. We're not beating any ranked opponent at all. We're going to beat BC. They're sorry. UNC is a joke right now, and I think we still even have a shot to lose those games. So no bowl game for the Orange this year. Developmental year with a tough schedule, but actually do something to develop instead of just saying it's a developmental year. Don't do stupid things like that, because that sets you back even farther, and that makes this top 30 recruiting class think a little bit more about where they're going and who they're playing for, because I don't want to lose that, because I got my hopes up about this program. Fran Brown, you built this thing up, and now it's falling in front of your face. You got to do something. I believe in you, You're freshly a head coach. Have only been a head coach for a season and a half, but you got to do something because what you build is falling apart right in front of your face very fastly. That's all I gotta say. Nothing.
Uh,
None of my other teams are worth talking about right now
I got you.
because I know what they are. Eagles won. They're a good team. The Flyers look good, like I said. Yeah. So
All right. Yeah, that's it. For me, the Mets, I'm not going to really talk about them. There's nothing going on. The Knicks I talked about yesterday. If you missed episode 73, definitely give that a watch. I did a little bit of a Knicks preview on the whole year. We'll also be live tomorrow night. I'll say it again before we sign off, but tomorrow night, Cavs versus Knicks. We're going to be live at 7. If any fans want to, go on. I see we have a few that have said it in the comments. You're more than welcome to just reach out and we'll send you what exactly you have to do to get on because it's on StreamYard and you have to download that and make an account and all that stuff free. But it just you have to do that just to get on for it to work on YouTube. And then with the Notre Dame, same thing. I talked about them before. Just got to keep winning games. They're off this week, and then they got BC after the bye, so it's a little bit of a softer game after the bye, which is good. The Rangers, talked about them before as well. They're just a team that they should be better than what they are. They're just terrible at home, and that's usually not what they are. They're usually good. They're usually good at home, and they're not. They're 0-4 at home, have 1 goal. Disappointing. They need to turn that around. And then the Jets, I just talk about. It's the same old 0-7 now. It's a team that now they can't score. I mean, they really couldn't score besides the first game of the season. It's kind of fake scores at the end. And now they're just getting, it's embarrassing what's going on. The last 2 games, the defense actually stepped up and did something, letting up 13 points each game, and they still couldn't win. I think they said they made history, another bit of history. First team in NFL history let up 13 points back-to-back games and lose both, which is, keep racking up the accomplishments because I guess that's a good thing. They enjoy that. They enjoy being on the wrong side of history. Justin Fields should have never been signed in the first place, but he was benched on Sunday against the Panthers because he once again looked lost, was afraid to throw the ball. They put Tyrod Taylor in, didn't make a difference. He only led them to 3 points in the second half. He's probably going to get the start this week against Cincinnati. So we're an 0-17 with a 38-year-old quarterback with no future ahead of us. Jets fans, we're in a good spot. Let's celebrate that. We're in a really, really we're in a good spot. Something to look forward to, I guess. Yeah, just keep an eye on college, man. Knowing as the Jets, we've been through this already. Been 2020 when we started out 0-13. At this point, just root for the first pick. It may not work, but let's root for the first pick. Keep an eye on some college quarterbacks. We'll see who can rise up to the top, and then hopefully we can take one of those guys in April and it works out for us. But, as Jeff fans, we're used to this. It's not going to go the way we think it's going to go. At this point, you might as well lose every game because you stink. And it doesn't matter if you win 3 games. Well, you won 3 games. It makes no difference. This team sucks in every aspect. Deadline will be in a couple of weeks, so I'm expecting names that we like as fans. Fan favorites will be gone. And Woody Johnson, with his press conference today, he was just like kind of ripping Justin Fields and giving Aaron Glenn a pass. I know the quarterback position has been terrible, but that could have been avoided. Like you could have done something to improve or keep what you had. You could have done something than just saying, yeah, we're gonna get Justin Fields and pay him a lot of money. Glenn is not under the bus. He didn't escape that. It's part of him too, and he just hasn't been a good coach. These are 5 games they've lost by 1 possession. If you know how to coach, you would win 2 or 3 of those. So I don't want to hear him getting a pass for that. No way in hell is he getting a pass for an 0-7 team. It's not one person's fault. It's not just Justin Fields' fault. It's not just the special team's fault. It's not just the defense's fault. It's everybody's fault. So I don't want to hear that. Woody Johnson always saying things that don't make sense. And then when I was at the game the other day, the normal intros before the game starts, it's usually a certain specific unit gets announced, defense or offense. This Jets team, they're afraid of the boos, so they just didn't even introduce anybody. They just let the team run out as a whole, and that was it, which just shows that the pathetic franchise that they are, that Woody Johnson is, in charge of. That I'm sure that was a call from him and be like, yeah, you know what? We're not going to have anybody intro. We're just gonna tell the whole team run out at once, and we won't have anything because either way, offense would have definitely been booed. Justin Fields wouldn't even been able to hear his name called because he would have been booed so loud. And I mean, besides the last 2 weeks, that 1 week before that Panthers game, Denver, the defense wasn't too great either. So I'm sure they would have been booed as well, and I would have been booing them. I know that for a fact. And I was a little like, I was like, yeah, it's another slap in the face of the fans. Be like, yeah, you know what? We know what you're going to do. The guys, we're trying to outsmart you when you're not. We know exactly what you're doing there, Woody Johnson. And yeah, you got to sell the team, man, because the stadium was like probably half empty on Sunday, and that's only week 7. Wait until week like 13. There's going to be nobody in that stadium. You can be buying tickets at the top and sitting probably on the field if you want to make it look like there's more people there because it's so embarrassing. But yeah, if you can tell in my voice as a Jets fan, I am beyond caring anymore. I really don't care. I'm gonna watch. Yeah. Hopefully they just don't even win a game. Let's make some history. Let's make even more history. Let's go 0-17. Let's do that. And yeah, that's it for the Jets. That's it for how you doing. Let's do our pick 'em now before we sign this one off. So last week we both won because we had the Rams winning in London. I'm at 12-8. Biggie's at 9-11 now. So Biggie, you're getting back closer to 500. I'm trying to, extend the lead, but I think this is a game, probably the best game of the week to me, just because of the storylines and also, yeah, the teams have actually been playing good. Packers versus Steelers. So I'll let you go first here. Who do we got Sunday night football in Pittsburgh? Rodgers playing his former team for the first time.
I just think because it's in Pittsburgh, I really, these are both teams that wherever they are, if they're home, they're going to win, I think, in games like this. So I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers solely on the fact that it's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's what I wrote in the notes there. I put Steelers will get it done.
Saw that.
Yeah, that's what I wrote. Steelers will get it done because they're home. I think that the Steelers, they haven't looked really good on the road. They beat the Jets on the road. They beat the Patriots on the road. Those are 2 games they didn't look good in. The Patriots turned the ball over 5 times in that game, and the Jets, they blew that lead in the fourth quarter. That was 2 of the wins I know off the top of my head. For Pittsburgh on the road, they haven't really looked good on the road, but at home they've won games. They've looked okay, and I think that that's going to play in their favor. And the Packers, yeah, they're 4-1-1, but there's games they should have lost and they didn't because they were, they're more talented. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with the mistakes they've been making against a Pittsburgh team that's been better. But Pittsburgh, I think they're also going to benefit off of that Thursday night game to this week because they'll have more of an extended rest. And for a veteran team, that's going to be big for them. They need those extra days. And I think that that's going to be a part of it too. But I think it could be a field goal Boswell game winner, something crazy. Someone throws if someone fumbles or Jordan Love throws a pick, something crazy happens for that game to be over. Something will happen along the way. But yeah, all right. So the boys both got the Steelers, both looking to improve their records as we head into the next week. But yeah, that'll do it for episode 74. Just want to remind everybody, go out there. Follow the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube, TJ Productions, JD Empire Sports Talk. Tomorrow we'll be back, so you won't have to wait another week to see the boys live. We'll be back tomorrow night. I know we have some guests as well going to come on. Knicks versus Cavs opening night. Both teams probably going to be the best 2 in the East. It's going to be really fun. Biggie's a Cavs fan. I'm a Knicks fan. So if you don't like the Knicks, come and attack me. If you're a Knicks fan, help me out. I'm trying to get a Knicks army on tomorrow night to go after Biggie. Biggie, you got anything else?
Nope.
All right, that'll do it for episode 74. See you guys.
See ya.